please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. And we're live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this live stream. See, we've got a bunch of people here already. This is going to be the most personal thing I've definitely ever done on this channel to this point, where this one is basically all about me. So you guys are going to get to know me better through your questions and the things that you guys want to know about, get to know about the channel history, how, you know, this whole thing started, all of that, anything, pretty much everything's open. I mean, obviously keep the questions appropriate and not like ridiculous, but for the most part everything's open here. So this is largely going to be driven by you guys. We got a bunch of people in the chat already, so I really do appreciate that. Jack's here, Brandon's here, Alex, Sutton, Connor, Kevin, Panther, Leafs Forever, Brian's here. What is going on, everybody? Vernon's here. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Really appreciate it. I have to say, I've been doing this channel now for 2.5 years. I rarely get nervous on camera anymore. I'm a little nervous about this stream just because I've never done anything like this, where this is like personal, like this is about me. So hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys, you know, find it, you know, at least entertaining and useful. And I know a lot of my answers to stuff are going to have stories attached, so if you like the stories that I tell, then I definitely think that you'll like this. Leafs Forever, what's going on? THG, what's going on? NFL Nation's here as well. I'm doing pretty well, man. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. But this is going to be a fun one, guys. So I am a little nervous, but I'm pretty excited too. Like, it's like a good kind of anxious because I'm pretty excited too. I think this is going to be a really fun stream. Going to be telling a lot of stories, answering a lot of questions for you guys. I was going to wait a little bit until like people got here. I was going to give them like 5 to 10 minutes to get here before we started, but we already got 15 in the chat, which is pretty awesome. That's a high amount for streams recently. So if you guys are ready to go, I mean, I can only answer I can only answer like one question at a time. So like don't if you all like keep asking questions over and over like at the same time, I can only answer like one of them at a time, and my answers, a lot of them are probably going to have stories attached as well, so it might take a little bit. So if you have a question that I don't get to, just ask it again when I get a chance later. Hey Pike, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Chris is in the house. Let's give Chris a big shout out. Don't have drumline for a while. Hey, Vernon with the super chat. Let's go. Thank you so much, Vernon. Very much appreciated. Thank you for the $2. That is awesome, man. Dono hype as well. Shout out to Pike for being here. Shout out to Vernon for the dono. Let's get that hype going. I miss Amanda too. I mean, I haven't talked to her in probably a week and a half. Probably should check in and see how things are going, but I haven't seen my friends in like over a week now, 2 weeks now. It sucks. This is obviously not the situation that any of us wanted to be in. Man, I mean, it sucks, but hey, we're making the best we can of it, and doing what we can. But I really do appreciate all you guys being here for sure. We're still keeping the channel alive, and that's what's most important. Yeah, we got Dono already. This is sweet, so thank you for that very much, Vernon. Alex asks, if you have COVID-19 but go to a sauna, will it disappear? I am not a doctor, Alex, so I have no idea. I am not qualified to be answering that question. I have no clue. Hey, another dono. Let's go, Sutton. $2 from Sutton. Let's go, man. Thank you so much, and I agree. Please bring hockey back. Absolutely. We need hockey back 100%. But it's going to be a while, guys. We're looking at July at the earliest. So We've still got a few more months of this to go, which really, really sucks. Hey, Nick, welcome to the stream, Nick. Thank you so much for watching. Man, I've just been saying hi to everybody. I haven't even gotten to, what am I trying to say here? I haven't even gotten to any, into what this stream is supposed to be yet, but I've just been saying hi to everybody. But yeah, thank you for that, Vernon. Thank you for that, Sutton. Really appreciate it. Nick, welcome, man, as always. No, I think, I don't think she, has Vietnam flashbacks, THG. I think she enjoys being on the channel. She's always told me that it's been really fun, and she likes doing it, and that's why she's been, keeps coming back on. So I think it's a good time. It's fun for all of us. I mean, this is a really, really fun thing to do, and it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to do this, and I really do appreciate this, guys. Thank you so much. So, yeah, I got a beer here, and I got another one for as the stream goes along as well. So I do got a couple beers for this afternoon. What's going on, Firestrike? THG, you guys can ask pretty much any time now. I've been saying hi to everybody getting here, so I haven't even really talked about questions yet or anything. But yeah, we can start if you guys want to. If you guys got any questions, anything that you want to know, I guess we can start. Again, a lot of these answers are going to have stories behind them, so it's going to take me a little while to get through questions. So don't all just spam the chat at once with a million questions. I can only do one at a time. I will try my absolute best to get to it. All right, Brandon with a question here. What was your first NHL game, and how was your experience there? My first NHL game is actually my only NHL game. I have only been to one game. It was in 2014, March of 2014. It was my senior year of high school, and it was a Boston Bruins versus Washington Capitals game. The Bruins did lose because the Bruins always lose to the Caps, but it was really, really fun. That's the only NHL game I've been to this day. I go to a lot of AHL games. I go to a lot of college hockey games, but NHL was the only one I've been to was that Bruins Caps game in 2014 at TD Garden. It was really, really fun. My whole family went. It was a big, me, my dad, my mom, my two sisters. We all went. It was really, really fun, and it was a good game. But it was. Obviously kind of sucked to see them lose, but just going to an NHL game was just such an incredible experience, and it was, it was awesome. And then obviously, that's the only NHL game I've been to. I did go to the Bruins Stanley Cup parade. That's obviously not a game, but when they won the cup in 2011, I did go to the Stanley Cup parade after they won it, and that was really, really awesome too. All right, what did I think of Mike O'Connell as a GM? That's going back a ways. I would say overall pretty bad. There's a reason he didn't last all that long as GM, and I think overall he was not great. That's going back to mid 2000s. Yeah, he was not one of the Bruins' better GMs in history, to say the least. What line did I play in high school? Well, freshman and sophomore year, I barely played varsity. I was on varsity because my school didn't have that many kids playing hockey to begin with. So, everyone was on varsity. Everyone made the team. But, the freshman and sophomore year, I didn't really play all that much. I was fourth line. I'd get on the ice if I was lucky for 2 or 3 shifts a game. Junior year is when I really became a regular in the lineup, and I played third line junior year, but we had a really good third line that year, so we actually got to play a lot. So junior year was actually my best year, and then when anyone got injured, I would move up to second line. So I was second, third line junior year, and then full second line my senior year. But our team sucked my senior year. We were not good at all. But for sure. So first 2 years I didn't play a whole lot. Junior year was my best year. I had 3 goals and 7 assists for 10 points as a second/third line center my junior year. And then senior year I had 4 goals and 3 assists for 7 points. and I played second line that year. But our team was way better junior year than my senior year. I was so stoked when the Bruins won the Cup, Vernon. So stoked. It was awesome. Absolutely loved seeing the Bruins win the Cup. Still like my favorite hockey memory to this day, for sure. All right, guys, I'm already falling behind in the chat. I apologize. So, again, if I don't get to your question, just ask it again. Because rather than going back in the chat and trying to scroll through everything, I'm just going to keep going with what I see. And if I miss it, just ask it again in a few minutes. Let's see. Yeah, Vernon, yes. Vancouver trashed the city after the loss. Yeah. Jack went to the Bruins game against the Kings in 2017-18, and the Bruins lost. Yeah, I remember that game. They lost, like, ridiculously early into overtime. I do remember that game, Jack. But, yeah, that's cool that you were at that. I mean, obviously sucked the way that they lost, but it's the way it goes sometimes, I guess. Do I have any brothers? No, it's just me and my two sisters, Panther. I do not have any brothers. DMV, what's going on, man? Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. You like the thumbnail. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Did I ever win sectionals in high school? No, I did not win much in high school. My team was good my junior year. We went, we played 20 games. We went 14-5-1, I think my junior year was our record. I know we won 14 games. I don't remember if it was 14-4-2 or 14-5-1. But we were really good my junior year. But then we lost in the first round of the playoffs because, we were in like a lower... we were facing lesser opponents, so we ended up playing a harder team than who we usually faced in the playoffs, and we lost like 4-1 first round. So... we didn't really win much in high school, but I mean, it was an upstart program. It was a hockey program that my freshman year was literally only the second year of the program's existence. Between, my school and a neighboring school, we had to combine to even have a team. But yeah, we didn't win a whole lot, but hey, it was a fun time. I miss hockey so much to this day. What inspired me to watch hockey, Brandon? Man, my dad was always a huge hockey fan. He played hockey when he was a kid. He played hockey in high school, same school that I went to. So I was like a hockey fan from the start because my grandfather likes hockey as well. My cousin likes hockey. So I was pretty much born into being a hockey fan. I remember watching hockey with my dad going back to even when I was a little kid. My first Stanley Cup that I can still remember, seeing was 2001 when the Colorado Avalanche won, and that team is why I became a Colorado Avalanche fan. Obviously, Bruins are my number one team, but Colorado's my number two, and really I've always liked the Avalanche, and that 2001 Avalanche team is mostly why. Because I love Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, Alex Tanguay, Milan Hajduk, Adam Foote, Rob Blake on the back end, Patrick Watt in goal. Chris Drury was a depth player on that team. I loved that 2001 Avalanche team. And then obviously the biggest thing of all was Ray Bourque winning, finally, after 22 years, winning the Stanley Cup. So... I was 5 years old when that happened. I hadn't even turned 5 yet, I don't think. I would have been 4 years old, turning 5 right after the Stanley Cup because my birthday's in the end of June. So that's my first hockey memory. But I was pretty much born into being a hockey fan, for sure. That was... my dad, just huge hockey fan. He's probably the main reason it's always been my favorite sport and I got into it. But, my family in general is a big hockey family. Bruins were very well constructed in 2011. Absolutely. THG. All right. This is a dope question from THG. This is time for story time here. My first time, what was my first time being drunk and how bad was it? The night was fantastic. The next day was horrible. This is a story. So I was I want to say, cover your ears, children. I was 15, I think. I was 15, and I was hanging out with my older cousin, and we were playing video games and just hanging out and stuff, and he was in college at the time. And we ended up going to his friend's house at night, and I mean, we all just got, I mean, it was like a full-on, like, it was like I was in college. So, we drank a lot, and it was really fun. I remember, I'm this, like, stupid high school, like, wow, I finally get to be a big kid and drink and have fun and stuff. So I'm, like, trying to show off and be all, like, impressive and stuff. And, I ended up being like, yo, if you guys, like, mix together, like, the stupidest thing that you can think of, I'll just chug it. Like, I'll straight up chug it. Like, it doesn't matter. I can do it. It's fine. So they made this awful mix together in a solo cup. It was like wine, beer, and vodka all mixed together. And I just absolutely downed it. And, like, straight chugged it. Whole cup, done. And, like, I wasn't even, like, drunk at that point yet. Literally, like, 2 minutes later, I am, like, on my ass drunk. And I mean, that fucked me up. And then the rest of the night is kind of a blur. Obviously, I don't really remember that much because I was absolutely gone at that point. But the next day, I remember the next day, obviously first hangover, you're not really sure what, what's going to happen. You've heard about it, but you've never experienced before. Next day, I was, like, I mean, throwing up, head just destroyed, like, felt like absolute shit. And I was like 15. I didn't drink again for a while. That was like, okay, I gotta, like, not be so stupid. And I didn't drink again for a while. Then as I got older, I started to more. And then once I got to college, I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I was, like, obviously drinking all the time in college because it's what you do, boys. Yeah, it was, that first time getting drunk was ridiculous, but still so fun to, like, look back on, so fun to think of that story. Now, I haven't told that story in a long time. But yeah, that was a ridiculously funny time for sure. But yeah, 15, that was an educational experience, to say the least. That was an educational experience, to say the least. Hey, I didn't really learn my lesson because my freshman year of college was really bad too. I did a lot of stupid stuff my freshman year of college. And then after freshman year of college, I got a lot smarter about drinking and not getting to the point where it was going to destroy me the next day, or getting to the point where, like, it was, like, dangerous. Like, I would get just drunk enough, except for a few occasions, but for the most part, I'm a lot smarter about it now. Oh yeah, the stomach was not good, Firestrike, to say the least. And yeah, you're probably the only non-drunk child. It's about that like 15, 16, 17 age is, like, where you really start, like, trying to do stuff and, like, see what you can get away with and try and act older than you actually are. And I mean, honestly, I'm all for it. Like, as long as you're not, like, seriously hurting yourself or dying, I'm all for it, because you learn so much. You learn so much in those years, and you really just start to figure a lot of things about life out in general. So as long as you're not being too stupid, I'd say go for it. Oh man, I've got tons of stories from high school, Firestrike. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with that, honestly. I've told a lot of them already. There's probably tons I haven't either. We'll get back to that. I think you'll probably hear a lot of them as this stream goes along, honestly. What's my favorite beer? That's a good question. One, I hate IPAs. IPAs literally taste like grass to me. It's like eating leaves or grass or something horrible like that. I hate IPAs. Obviously, the beer I drink the most, it's in a koozie, so you guys can't see it. Actually, I should show you. It's a Bruins koozie. But Bud Light is the beer I drink the most, obviously. It's my favorite of the cheap beers. But if I had to go, like, favorite beer based on taste, I would probably say Blue Moon. Whenever I go out to a restaurant or something like that, I usually get Blue Moon. That's like my fancy going out beer, but when I'm just drinking with the boys or something, or and need, have cheap beer at home, then it's Bud Light all the way. How many pieces of bread did I eat after that experience? I literally couldn't eat at all. I literally could not eat at all that whole next day. I was so sick to my stomach the next day. I couldn't eat at all. I don't think I ate the next day until 5 o'clock at night when it was dinner time. I literally couldn't do it. Hey, we got a bunch of new people stopping, and I want to thank everyone for being here. Really appreciate it. We're off to a rocking start on this stream, guys. But please hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Really, really appreciate y'all being here. I'm trying to answer as many of these questions as I can, guys. If I miss your question, please just ask it again, and I'll try and keep up. It's hard to keep up with the chat. With everything, but I see Ronald's here. What's going on, man? Thank you. Nathan, Vegas, Vix as well. Thank you guys all for being here. Really, really appreciate everyone watching. Do I drink Corona? I'll have a Rona from time to time, Vaughn. I've never bought Corona myself. But if Corona's in the fridge at my friend's house or something and they're willing to share, then I'll have a Rona. It's not my favorite beer, but it's not terrible. Adam says he remembers his 18th birthday. His friends gave him a shitload of shots. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty typical for birthdays at that age, Adam, for sure. But that's just part of it, and it's a lot of fun. Wow, Vegas Vic says Natty Ice is the best beer. That is a college classic right there. That shit is so cheap. That shit is so cheap. Favorite superpower? That's a good question, Rob. Damn. Favorite superpower? Boom. That's tough. I don't know if I've ever even thought about that. My favorite superpower. I feel like the generic answer to that is flying, but I feel like flying would not be my favorite. Would super strength be my favorite? Nah, because the strong ones, with the exception of Superman, the strong ones are usually the dumb ones. I would probably go with super intelligence. My favorite superpower, I think, would be super intelligence and being really smart, because then I feel like I'd be able to figure out a way to build something or make myself all the other superpowers as well. So I think super intelligence is probably my favorite superpower. That's definitely the one that I would go with. Frustrating years of Bruins fan. Yeah, 2016 was really bad, Jack, for sure. That was not a fun year. Oh, God. DMV was minus 14 in his rookie year of high school hockey. That sucks, man. Hopefully you're better next year. Favorite city to visit? Boston. I mean, I don't go to Boston very much, but every time I've been to Boston, it's been awesome. I'm Boston guy through and through. Love it. Let's see. Gee, all right, I'm skipping that one. That Fire Strike and Panther are talking about. I'm skipping that one. What's my worst subject in school? Absolutely science. I hated science. I was not a science and math guy. I was an English history kid all the way. I hated math and science. I was better at math though. I could do math. I just wasn't good at it. It wasn't that I wasn't good at it. I could do math. I didn't like it though. I did not like it really at all. With the exception of some statistical stuff, I really didn't like math. But science I was bad at and I hated. So science was absolutely my worst. Top 3 favorite Bruins games this year. That's a tough one, Sutton. God, I gotta be reminded. I'd have to go back and think. Definitely the first Bruins game, that Thursday night Bruins game that I streamed against the Pittsburgh Penguins a couple months ago. Absolutely, that one was one of my favorites. That might have been the best game all year. The game that the Bruins beat the Canadiens 8-1, just to see them absolutely drub the Canadiens like that was fantastic. Third one is going to be tough to think. Probably one of our wins over Toronto, just because I love when we beat Toronto. So I would have to go with definitely that Thursday night Penguins game that we won. and was really, really fun to watch. The Bruins drubbing the Canadiens 8-1, and a win over Toronto early in the year. Favorite music genre, definitely rock. I mean, I like music across the board. I'm huge into music. If I wasn't so into sports, I'd be a full-on music kid. But for sure, my most go-to is definitely rock, for sure. But I really like all different genres, and I like a lot of things from a lot of different genres as well. Yo, why are you deleting Adam's messages? What did it say? Oh my god, favorite. That's actually pretty funny, Adam. Favorite virus. Jesus. Alright, yeah, I'm not answering that. Jesus, I'm missing a lot of questions, guys. My apologies. So please, I cannot keep up with this chat. Just keep asking them, and I'll get to them eventually. At some point, I'm going to see them. Yeah, I loved history. I honestly loved history growing up. That was probably my favorite subject. And until I got to high school, then I became more of a writer and liked English and writing a little bit more. But history was always one of my favorites. Oh, that's true. I almost forgot about that Bruins Lightning game that feels like it was like a month ago now, but yeah, no, you're right. That's going to knock off one of the Toronto games. Definitely that Bruins Lightning game. How did I forget that? Oh my god. That's got to be number 1 on the season. Nah, the Bruins lost. Drop that one to number 2. Number 1 is the Bruins Penguins game from that Thursday night, whatever it was. I forget the day. I streamed it. Number two, the Bruins won that game too, so that one's number 1. Number 2 is that Bruins Lightning game from a few Saturdays ago, and number 3 is the 8-1 drubbing of Montreal for sure. Which team do I pity on? Ooh. I don't know. I would say Florida because they have no fans. No offense, Panther, but they have like almost no fans in their arena. But they've honestly pissed me off the past few years because they should be a playoff team with that roster, and they just can't make the playoffs. So I'm going to say Arizona is a team that I pity on. I would say Arizona. I do not like math, Vegas Vix. That is not my thing at all. History in Canada is dumb. First Nation. I don't know how they teach history in Canada, but I love American history. Oh, damn, Matty, you are going way back. Yes, so Matt, my friend Matt. So, Matt is a good friend of mine. We're friends to this day still. I talk to Matt on a pretty regular basis. When I started this, originally this started as a blog. Off the Wall Hockey started as a written blog. I didn't start doing video until after I had started the blog. So Matt and I, we played hockey together in high school, so that's how we knew each other, and we became good friends through playing hockey together. And he had a bunch of other sports blogs that he wrote, and he wrote for different sites, and he wrote for his own site and stuff when he was in high school. And I did the same thing. I started writing about sports for my cousin's sports blog when I was like 15 years old. I was like 14 or 15, and I started writing for his sports blog. So I had been writing for a long, long time before ever doing video. And when I started Off the Wall Hockey, originally it was going to be a blog. It was going to be a written website, typed out, blog. And Matt and I were going to write for it. And Matt actually wrote on the website multiple times. He did write articles for those first few months that Off the Wall Hockey existed. It didn't become a YouTube channel until a little bit later on when I started doing video. And Matt was just, he was doing other things, and I don't think he was very, I don't think he had done video before. I mean, neither had I, but he was very writing focused, and I was the one who was like, I kind of want to branch off into video here. So I started doing all the videos. He continued writing for the blog, but eventually he just got too busy doing other stuff. Like he's written for a bunch of different sites and stuff like that. So he ended up he basically stopped writing with me, and he's gone off and does his own thing now. And I've I've stopped writing. I canceled the website. I don't pay for the website anymore. And this has become a full-on video YouTube channel, and it's strictly YouTube now. And honestly, that's worked out really, really well. That's been one of the best things ever, is just so many more people see the content when it's on YouTube compared to anybody reading a blog. That, like, a blog post would get like 10 views on it. I mean, I've got videos with thousands of views. So it's just been way better going on to YouTube and doing this. And he's off, does his own thing now. He actually writes for the Boston Cannons, Major League Lacrosse team. He writes for them now. He's you know, we're still friends, but he's just not involved with this anymore. Most frustrating year as a Patriots fan? Trying to think. There haven't been many, that's for sure. I'll tell you what was really frustrating was the Matt Castle year when Brady tore his ACL and Matt Castle came in. It was 2008. And they still went. They went like 10-6 that year, but didn't make the playoffs. Going 10-6, but not making the playoffs was so frustrating because they were absolutely good enough to be a playoff team that year. 9 times out of 10, going 10-6 is going to make the playoffs, and they didn't that year. So that was really, really frustrating. If money wasn't an issue, where would I travel? I mean, man, I've been talking about this, and I've talked about this with HTH before. My friends and I have wanted to go to Toronto for like 3 years now. We've wanted to do a Toronto trip because I want to see the Hockey Hall of Fame. I want to go to a Toronto Maple Leafs game in Toronto. I would absolutely love to see a game in Toronto. And my friends and I want to go to, like, they all want to go to Toronto too. So I would say, like, if money was never an issue, Toronto would be like the top city on my list where I would want to go. And it would have to be during hockey season, obviously, but I really, really want to go to Toronto. Also, now I'd love to just meet up with HTH and like actually get to meet him and stuff. And that'd be really, really cool. What countries have I been to? I have been to the United States of America, and I have been to the Bahamas, and that is it. We don't travel a whole lot, and certainly not outside of the country. I've been to plenty of places in the country within the U.S. I've been to a lot of different states, but I have not been outside of the country very much. But we did go to the Bahamas once. Let's see. Thoughts on Jarrett Stidham? I like Stidham. I think he could be a pretty good quarterback in the future. I don't think he's going to be Tom Brady or anything like that, but I do think he could end up being a pretty good quarterback if he develops correctly. Are the Buffalo Bandits the most successful Buffalo team? I'm not overly familiar with lacrosse, Rob, but I feel like they've had a pretty good history. So given the Sabres the last 10 years and the Bills certainly haven't won a whole lot. So, yeah, I would probably say the Bandits are definitely up there as far as success in Buffalo goes. Hey, that's awesome, DMV. Yeah, Toronto I've heard fantastic things about. So if money wasn't an issue, that would definitely be a top place for me to go, 100%. What do I think of Phil Kessel when he was in Boston? I mean, he was a decent goal scorer, but I mean, obviously what we traded him for ended up being, if we hadn't botched it, would have ended up being, absolutely, I mean, trading him was the right move because we got a draft pick that turned into Tyler Seguin, a draft pick that turned into Dougie Hamilton, and if we didn't, botch the Seguin trade, that, I mean, would have been, absolutely incredible. So I'm glad they traded him. I think they got a lot for him. But he was always a solid player. Always a solid player. Best Blue Jackets logo? Ooh, that's a tough one, Sutton. I'd have to go back and look at their logo history to really get an accurate answer on that. What is my biggest pet peeve? Ooh, that's a good question, THG. My biggest pet peeve. I feel like there's a lot of like little things that just irritate me like that. I don't know if there's like one shining top pet peeve that pisses me off. One thing I will say is when people spell lose loose. Like, they spell lose like they mean like we lose this, we lost. Like, they spell lose instead of L-O-S-E. They spell it L-O-O-S-E, which is loose. And that, like, every time I see that on social media, every time I see that written down, I just get it, my blood boils. That, like, absolutely infuriates me. So that's definitely near the top of the list as far as pet peeves go. I don't know why. It's very irrational. Like, there's no reason for that to be a thing, but I just absolutely hate it. It pisses me off so much. Greatest NHL team in the history of the NHL. Probably, I mean, pick your year with any of those mid-'80s Oilers teams. I mean, with Gretzky and Curry and Messier and Coffey and Grant Fuhr. I mean, pick your poison with any of those Stanley Cup winning Oiler teams. Those 80s Oilers were absolutely fantastic, and I would say that one of them is probably the greatest team of all time. All right, almost time to crack the second beer, guys. Maybe we're only like half an hour into this, so maybe I'll wait a little bit. Which city might lose their team? Florida's in contention for relocation, for sure, given their attendance issues. Arizona could potentially, although I really think the NHL wants to stay in Arizona. And when the Coyotes are good, they get fan support. The thing with the Coyotes is when they're good, they actually do get pretty decent fan support. When they're bad, and unfortunately they're bad a lot of the time, they really, really struggle. So I would say Florida's in the most danger of getting relocated. Hey, what's going on, Sal? Sal's in the stream, guys. One of my absolute best friends, longest tenured friend since first grade, behind the arc basketball in the chat, guys. That is my buddy Sal. Thank you so much for stopping in. Really appreciate it, man. Glad to have you here as always. How do the Canadians have 24 Stanley Cups? Because most of them came before expansion, like in the early part of the NHL's existence. They just won year after year after year, and that's because the Canadians used to get dibs on the best French Canadian player. So like any French Canadian player coming out of Quebec used to like automatically go to the Montreal Canadiens. So they got all these nasty players without even the other teams even getting a chance to. So I mean, a lot of their cups came early on in their history, and they were a really good team through the 50s as well. But again, that's still original six era. A lot of their cups came in the original six era. They were good in the 70s as well, and then obviously their last cup came in 1993. But a lot of them just came when there were only 6 teams, and they were early on in the NHL, in NHL history. The Keandre Miller incident is just absolutely despicable, absolutely horrible. There's really not much more to say about that, and completely disgraceful whoever did that. They should be banned from all NHL events going forward. I don't know if they're ever going to find out who it was, if they used, a proxy or an encryption or something. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but overall, it's just absolutely horrible to see, completely uncalled for, a despicable act, and just really, really disgusting. And there's really not much more to say about that. The Islanders' attendance numbers are a little deceiving. Because their capacity's low. I haven't really looked into that or anything, THG, but I'll take your word for it on that. Firestrike, your mom worked with Brian Gianta's aunt. That's really cool, man. I think you might have told me that before, but that is really, really cool, honestly. It's funny how like you can get to know, people like that. Best goal horn besides Boston's. I honestly don't know, Brandon. I don't pay that much attention to goal horns or goal songs. Like, I know a lot of people do. I just don't pay that much attention to that kind of stuff. So, I don't really have, like, goal horn rankings or anything like that. Hey, what's going on, Eddie? HTH is here as well. What's going on, HTH John? Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for being here. Very much appreciate it, as always. We were just talking about you earlier, John, because someone asked, like, if money wasn't an issue, where would I most want to travel? And my answer was Toronto, because I want to see the Hockey Hall of Fame. I want to go to a Leafs game in Toronto. I think that'd be really cool. And then I was like, and I want to meet Hot Take Hockey, because that would be really, really sick. So Toronto is definitely, when travel is possible again in the future, and if money isn't an issue, Toronto is definitely at the top of my list as far as places I want to go. Yeah, no, for sure, Jack. I agree with you on that. Hey, what's going on, Danny? Welcome to the stream, Danny. Thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it, as always. It's great to have you here, my man. Really, really awesome. So, God, we're only 40 minutes into this. I mean, we can go as long as you guys want. Pop some questions in the chat, guys, and I can answer them. I mean, pretty much everything's on the table. We've told some funny stories so far. Definitely telling the story of the first time I got drunk was pretty funny. That's one that you guys should if you missed that, that's at the beginning, towards the beginning of the stream. Definitely go back and rewatch that at some point, because that's a hilarious story. 100% HGH. At some point, we all gotta hang out, man. Absolutely, that'd be sick. 100% down for that. DMV's got the Jason Botterill song in the chat here. Dude, that's still one of the funniest videos I've seen this year. Absolutely love that. Dude, just because the Leafs are a Bruins rival doesn't mean I can't go to Toronto, Vaughn. I'll still go to Toronto. I mean, I'm not afraid. Do I get mad at centers who don't have good face-off percentages? No, I don't, Jack. I mean, I guess from an NHL standpoint, I would say yes. I would want my center to have a good. I would want my centers to have good face-off percentages. But I was a center playing in high school, and I was so bad at face-offs. So, like, face-off percentage, I don't even want to look at it, because I literally probably was like 20% at the face-off dot when I played hockey. I don't know how my coach didn't end up moving me to wing. Like, I don't think I was lucky if I won like 2 face-offs a game. I mean, I was so bad at the face-off dot. What I was good at though was just like tying the guy up and then having the wing come in and take the puck. I was all right at that, but trying to like win a draw clean, just no. Like, I was so bad in the face-off dot. So, face-off percentage, I don't even want to look at it because mine was so bad. If I won the lottery, what would be the first thing I would do? That's actually a really, really good question, THG. Buy a house. 100% without a doubt, no questions asked. The absolute, first thing, once that money got into my account, the first thing I would do is go on the market to buy a house. And I would buy a house and have a place to live for hopefully the rest of my life. That would 100% be the top thing I do if I won the lottery. Absolutely. My favorite piece of memorabilia. Ooh, that's a great question too, Danny. I've got quite a bit of Bruins stuff. I've got a lot of hockey stuff. I mean, I got some really, really good Bruins stuff down in my basement where I used to record videos. I don't really record much down there anymore because the Wi-Fi is really bad. But I've got some good stuff in the basement. I've got some signed stuff in the basement, pictures and like team pictures. We have this really cool picture. It's the Bruins Stanley Cup team from 2011, like the Stanley Cup photo with pieces of the netting from Game 7, and it's signed by the whole team. So that's definitely up there. But as far as sentimental value goes, honestly, hang on. I'm going to move the camera here quick. It might be this poster right here. This is my Joe Sakic poster. I've had this since I was a little kid. I got this for Christmas one year. I don't really remember what year, but I got this for Christmas, and I had to be like 5 years old, 6 years old. And that sentimentally is probably like my most prized thing. I mean, I still got it up on my wall today. That Joe Sakic poster is, really means a lot. And again, that goes back to like how I got into hockey. That's how I got into hockey, was that 2001 Colorado team, and like, seeing Ray Bourque win the Stanley Cup. That's like my first hockey memory. It was, I was only 4 years old. Like, it was so awesome. So, and to see Bourque lift that cup after 22 years. Joe Sakic was one of my absolute favorite players. Forsberg, Foote, Blake. I know I've already talked about this, but I could go on forever about that 01 Avs team. But 100%, that was that one's sentimentally, that right there is probably up there as my top thing. But that team photo that's signed by the whole team with the netting and stuff, that's really up there too, probably number 2. Do I ever get high? I don't anymore, Brandon. I smoked a lot more in high school than I do. I mean, I don't really at all now. A little bit in college, not much, just once in a while. But for sure, I did more in high school, but I really don't anymore. Have I met any famous people? Trying to think. I don't think so. Nothing is like jumping out into my head of like this great memory where I met some super famous person. I feel like I haven't really met anyone that famous. No. I mean, I live in a small town. Like, there's no famous people around here. I nothing is jumping to mind for sure, right out of the gate or anything. Have to maybe think about that a little bit more. I met a few like, damn, what am I trying to say here? I just lost my train of thought. My bad, guys. I've met a few like Patriots players before, but for sure, they were like practice squad type players. They weren't like super famous guys. I think the most famous Patriot player I ever met, like, and actually like took a picture with or something, was Patrick Pass. He was the fullback back in like the mid 2000s. But that was probably the most famous person, I'd say. Patrice Bergeron's an incredible person, I think. I mean, I don't know him personally, but everything I've heard about him is fantastic, and it seems like he's a really, really good guy. WWE, I used to be really into WWE back when I was like in middle school, but as I got older, I just grew out of it, and now I don't watch it anymore, but I will always go back and watch like old, like late 90s Attitude Era WWE, Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, anyone like that, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, DX, like, I will always go back and watch that old stuff. It was so good back then. Absolutely love it. I don't watch it anymore. I mean, it's not nearly as good as it used to be now. Way less like violent and entertaining, like no chair shots, like they hardly use chairs or weapons anymore. Like, it used to be so good back in the day though, but I don't watch it anymore. I've kind of grown out of it. Did I ever have a crush on a teammate's sister or friend's sister? No, luckily no. I feel like that's not a situation you want to be in. I have not. Luckily, most of my friends actually do. None of my friends have sisters. Well, Brody does, but she's way older and swings for the other team. So, none of my friends have sisters, luckily. And teammate-wise, no. I never had any issues with that. HTH, no. Let's see. Which jersey was worse, the Avalanche Stadium Series or the Kings Stadium Series? Man, I didn't like either of the Stadium Series jerseys, but I'm going to say Kings. Because I think the Kings should go back to like their 90s uniforms to begin with. I don't really like the Kings stuff now anyway. So I would probably say Kings was slightly worse. Wow, does he really, Danny? He coaches the team in Worcester now? That's nuts. I did not know that. But yeah, I've met him before. Who do you see retiring as an Oiler? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's been an Oiler since the day he got drafted. Or Cassian. I would say RNH has a better chance of retiring as an Oiler. I don't think Cassian's going to retire an Oiler, but I don't know if Nugent-Hopkins is either, but I think Nuge has a better chance. Las Vegas with the boys, that would be sick, Pike. Absolutely sick, Pike. Definitely would love to do that in the future. Wow, Metal Clan met Travis Dermott. That's cool. I like Travis Dermott. He's a solid D-man. Wow, that's awesome, Danny. I did not know that. That's really cool. So Patrick Pass still around the game of football. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, dude, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the man back in the day. Absolutely love Stone Cold DMV. Oh, damn. HTH coming for my throat right there. HTH coming for the Bruins fan throat right there. If you had to see the Habs win a cup or the Leafs win 2 cups in 5 years, which do you choose? Oh. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I cannot believe I'm about to say this. Habs win the Stanley Cup. Because one cup is better than watching either of those teams win 2. Only having to watch them win 1 cup is way better than having to watch either of them win 2. So I have to say, as much as I hate the Canadians, I'd rather see the Habs only win 1 than have to watch the Leafs win 2. I do not want to see the Leafs winning 2 cups. 1 is better than 2 in my opinion. Favorite player when Bergeron, Marchand, and Pastrnak retires? Probably not on the team yet. Whoever that favorite player is going to be, by the time that those guys retire, probably isn't even on the team yet, Sutton. I'll have to answer that question when it actually happens. Yeah, Jack, I greatly miss more fighting. I loved when the league was. I loved when the league had like fights every game. Dude, like, you went into a game, you could go into certain matchups and just know that there were going to be like 3 fights that game, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I miss fighting a lot. I mean, I'm glad it's still at least somewhat around. We're seeing star players fight more because, you know, the actual fighters are pretty much all gone. So we're seeing star players fight more, which is actually cool. I love to see a star player stand up and drop the gloves. It's a lot of fun to watch. But I miss the game. I miss it when, like, literally almost every game had a fight. Like, God, you knew when it was like 3 minutes into the game and Sean Thornton and Colton Orr lined up next to each other on the face-off, you knew exactly what was coming, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Least favorite NHL player of all time? That's a great question, Maddie. That's a tight race between 2 people, Claude Lemieux and Matt Cook. And because I personally witnessed Matt Cook decapitate Mark Savard and essentially end his career, Matt Cook is my least favorite NHL player of all time. One of the dirtiest pieces of garbage to ever play the game. I would tell him that to his face if I ever met him. Absolutely no respect for the way that he played. And I just cannot stand Matt Cook. He is my least favorite player of all time. Claude Lemieux is second. Ulf Samuelson's probably third. And Sean Avery would be fourth. Jake DeBrusk is a good pick there. And absolutely, Jake DeBrusk is a solid pick. What's worse, the NHL making hockey games only consist of shootouts or no fighting? What do you like? Which is worse? Oh, only consist of shootouts. Definitely only consist of shootouts. That wouldn't even be hockey at that point. I mean, if you take fighting out, like it becomes college hockey at that point, basically. Which I do like college hockey. I think hockey's better with fighting. But if you just made hockey straight shootouts, that wouldn't even be hockey. Which Canadian team wins the cup next? And which of the Cali team wins the cup next? All right, HGH. That's a good question, HGH. Next Canadian team to win the cup. I'm going to go out a limb here and say Vancouver gets there first. I think at some point in the next 5 to 7 years, Vancouver is going to get there first. With that core of Horvat and Pettersson and Besser and Hughes, I think Vancouver gets there first at some point. And California teams, they all suck right now. I think Anaheim's probably got the best chance out of anybody. I think going forward, Anaheim is going to put their a good team back together quicker, and Anaheim's going to be the first of the Cali teams. Ulf Samuelsson ruined Cam Neely's career and also was an extremely dirty player. So Ulf Samuelsson is one of my all-time hated players as well. Yeah, I'm sure HGH would go nuts if the Leafs won a cup. I love Ryan Reeves. I'm a huge fan of Revo. He's fantastic. One of the last actual fighters left in the league. I think Reeves is by far the toughest guy left in the league. No, actually, I don't mind Brendan Lemieux. He hasn't done anything to a Bruins player yet that has made me hate him. So, I mean, he makes the game more exciting, that's for sure. It's more fun when Brendan Lemieux is on the ice than when he's not. You never know if he's going to, randomly start a fight or throw a massive check on somebody. So, I don't mind Brendan Lemieux. I hate Claude Lemieux, one of the biggest rats to ever play the game. Yeah, Sutton, I remember that game. Trennan hit Chara right on the jaw and buckled him with that punch. That'd be hilarious, Eddie. The game ends in a tie, so you decide it by bench clearing brawl. That's hilarious. Vaughn, the Sharks are the worst team in the Western Conference. Look at the standings, Vaughn. The Sharks are the worst team in the Western Conference. Hey, what's going on, Titanium? Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Ryan Kesler? See, I always liked Ryan Kesler. Obviously, when the Bruins played the Canucks in the finals, it was a very heated series, and I hated all the players on the Canucks. But Ryan Kesler was a guy, I thought he played his role extremely well. He knew what he was doing, and he played his role extremely well. So I never really hated Ryan Kesler, except when he was playing against the Bruins. I mean, complete pain in the ass to play against, but that was his job, and he knew what he was doing, and he did it really well. And he was a really good player on top of it. So I didn't mind Kesler. Yeah, I agree, HTH. I think Anaheim is building a very, very solid future. Oh, a Reeves versus Ross Johnston fight would be absolutely fantastic, Maddie. Absolutely fantastic. Least favorite Bruins player? Least favorite Bruins player? Well, I mean, there's no one I really don't like left, because it was Danton Heinen. It was 100% Danton Heinen, but he got traded at the deadline, so I was really happy about that. But it's hard to pick anyone on the current team. I like everyone on the current team. Heinen was the one guy I really didn't like, and they shipped him out. So it's hard to answer that question now. I remember when Chara put Pacioretty into the stanchion. I mean, it was interference. I remember thinking, like, it's interference. It's not, it's like, he didn't, like, purposely try and kill him. He just rubbed him out against the wall, and it happened to be right where the glass starts, and the stanchion is right there. So it ended up being way worse than it actually was, because the stanchion just happened to be right there. I remember thinking, like, I mean, I was playing hockey at the time, and I was like, that could literally happen at any point. That could happen during any game. Whether you're playing, you know, high school, whether you're playing college, pro, no, that could happen at any game. And it was just bad luck. I mean, he rubbed him out. It was 100% a penalty. It was interference. But he rubbed him out at, like, the worst possible spot. And just, it went really, really bad. That's what I remember about that. Yeah, fuck Aaron Rome, Firestrike. Fuck Aaron Rome. Absolutely ended Nathan Horton. And Nathan Horton was one of my favorite players. I loved that guy. And Aaron Rome, with that cheap late head hit, absolutely ended Nathan Horton. And that's 100%. I hate Aaron Rome. He was a shit defenseman, too. He was terrible. What non-hockey person would I want to be best friends with? Wow, that's a really difficult question, THG. Damn. That's a really difficult question. It'd probably be like a rock, it'd probably be like a music person. I'd have to think, you know, like who, you know, but I don't know them personally. It's hard to say that you'd want to be friends with someone if you don't know them perfectly. Personally. Not perfect. I don't know why I said perfect. Personally, if you don't know them personally, it's hard to say that you'd want to be friends with them. But it would probably be someone from, like, a band I like or something that's a cool guy. But I don't really know off the top of my head. Yeah, JFK's under contract with Boston DMV, but he's back in Europe. He sucks. He's never going to make the NHL. Sutton, Sean Thornton did beat Matt Cook's ass. Chara never did, but I remember when the Penguins played the Bruins for the first time, after Matt Cook's hit on Mark Savard, Thornton went right after him and absolutely destroyed him in that fight. No, I cannot stand Alex Burrows. Another one of my least favorite NHL players. Dirty, cheap, crybaby player. I do not like Alex Burrows. Yeah, they did curve the glass at the stanchion now, and I think that was a great thing to come out of that. That was a great thing to come out of that, was that they curved the glass now where the stanchions are. So the hits, even though that's not a good spot to get hits still, it never will be, but it's still, it's a lot better than it used to be. Oh, I remember Todd Bertuzzi taking out Steve Moore. Absolutely. That's one of the uglier incidents in NHL history. And he broke Steve Moore's neck, which, again, he wasn't trying to break his neck, but that's one of those things where it just went really, really bad. But that was definitely one of the uglier incidents in NHL history, where he just came up from behind, sucker punched him in the back of the head, and then drove him face first into the ice. That was pretty brutal. The Marchand hit on Sammy Salo. Yeah, I mean, it's a low bridge hit. It's a dirty play, but I mean, as a Bruins fan, it was hilarious because as a Bruins fan, I loved everything that, you know, anything that was like against the Canucks was fantastic. Anything that was against the Bruins was like, shit, that sucked. Like when Burrows bit, who the hell did he bite? I forget was it Bergeron whose finger he bit? That was like, I mean, we hated Burrows from that point on. Marchand's, I mean, he's a rat. He knows what he's doing. That's the kind of player he is. But, I mean, like, it was a cheap, low bridge, taking their knee out hit. But still, like, it was funny to see it happen to a Canuck player back then. Let's see. Do I like Matthew Tkachuk? Nah, he's a turtle. I mean, Tkachuk has grown on me a little bit in the second half of the season because he's actually started dropping the gloves. Like, I think Tkachuk has, like, 3 fights in the last few months. Like, he's actually started dropping the gloves, so I have a little bit more respect for him now. But overall, I mean, he's an agitator, really ratty player, really good player. I mean, you can't take that away from him. He's a great player. But he's a really, like, you know, gets under your skin, agitator type player. I mean, I thought it was hilarious when Cassian just beat the wheels off him. I thought he deserved it. And I said that multiple times in videos on this channel. I thought Tkachuk deserved it. But he's actually stood up and fought a few times over the last few months. So, you know, I'm starting to like him a little bit more. I like Brady Tkachuk a lot more. Brady Tkachuk is not afraid to throw down and protect himself or protect his teammates, and he plays the same role. He's a really good player as well, a solid goal scorer. I love Brady Tkachuk. He's one of my favorite young players in the league. Matthew, not so much, but you know, he's growing on me a little bit. If he was on the Bruins, I would absolutely fucking love him. Yeah, the Marty McSorley baseball swing at Donald Brashear's head was pretty bad too. Fire strike, absolutely. That's one of the ugliest incidents. Along with, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember this, but Chris Simon baseball swinging Ryan Holweg. That was really bad too. I remember when that happened, and Simon got suspended for like 20 games or something like that. That was really bad. Wow, you guys have made this very hockey oriented. I figured I was gonna do like a personal stream like this, and I thought you guys would be asking about more like me stuff and personal stuff, but you guys have turned it very very hockey oriented, which again, it's a hockey channel and you're all hockey fans, so I guess I'm not surprised by that, but I thought you guys were gonna be coming at me with the personal stories. Ryan Holweg. He used to play for the Rangers. Firestrike. You got to look that up. That was Islanders versus Rangers. And Chris Simon baseball swung Ryan Holweg like right in the like neck area. Really dirty play. He got suspended for like, I forget the exact total. It was like 20-something games. Yo, you got Firestrike. You guys got to give me something to like make me remember the you guys gotta make me remember the high school stories. Yeah, no, THG, you've been asking the most. It was a 30-game suspension. There we go. DMV, absolutely. All right. Oh, Maddie with a good one. What made me join band? All right, this is a whole story behind it. So you guys might want to just stop typing in the chat because it's gonna be a while. Maddie just opened up big time story time here. So, all right, so I was never musical. I could not play shit growing up as far as music goes. I mean, I don't know if you guys did recorder in 4th grade. I feel like that's like a countrywide thing. Everyone does recorder. I did recorder in 4th grade. That was literally the only music I ever played in my life. But a lot of my friends, particularly Sal was really big into music, and he started playing drums like, he played drums as soon as he could, and his sister played drums as well. So Sal was in marching band to begin with, but I played football. I was a football player. I was sports all the way. I played football in the fall. I played hockey in the winter, and I played baseball in the spring. And I was straight up football all the way, and sports all the way. So growing up, I mean, zero music, zero ability, nothing like that. But anyway, skipping ahead, we get to high school, and I'm still playing football. Brody, welcome, man. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. That's a classic story, too, Brody. That is a great story. What do you mean, which Sal? There's only one Sal, Vaughn. My friend Sal. There's literally only one Sal. Anyway, I'm going to ignore the chat for a while. So I played football my freshman and sophomore year of high school, but sophomore year, like, really sucked. Like, it wasn't fun. I had played it for, like, 7 years up to that point. And, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever played football on, actually on a team and stuff, but, like, it's, like, I mean, it beats you up. Like, football, people say, like, what's the hardest sport? Football. I got way more beat up in football than I ever did in hockey. Football is just, you take a pounding every single day. Like, in practice, you're trying to block guys, you get hit and hit and hit. You're trying to tackle guys, you get hit and hit and hit. Hockey, you get hit like a few times a game, and sometimes they're big hits, yes, but football, it's every play. And I played tight end and defensive end, so, like, I am literally getting hit every single play. So by the time I got to sophomore year, like, it was just not fun. I wasn't having fun, so it sucked. So I decided I wasn't going to play football anymore because I wasn't going to quit after my junior year because then you're literally just not playing your senior year. That makes no sense. So that was literally like the cut down day. It was like either you're going to keep playing football and you're going to play football through high school and be a football player, or you're going to stop playing football right now. This was at the end of my sophomore year. And I was like, I just don't, like, this is miserable. I'm not having fun. This sucks. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm sick of getting absolutely destroyed, like, every single day. I'm not that big. I'm only 5'8", 130 pounds. I'm not that big. Like, I was going up against kids who weighed, like, almost twice as much as me. It wasn't fun. So I'm like, all right, I'm not playing football anymore. And I didn't know what I was going to do. When I stopped playing football, my parents were, like, they were not happy right away. Like, they were like, I had played for so long. They were like, what? Like, you're just going to quit and stop now? That doesn't make any sense. But I hated it at that point. It was not fun at all. So, I needed something to do because I am not the type of person that just sits around and does nothing. And my parents certainly didn't want me just sitting around doing nothing. I needed something to do. And a bunch of my friends were in marching band. So Sal was drum captain and he was snare drummer in marching band. My friend Curtis, my friend Austin, my friend Will, you guys know Will, they were all in marching band. And, I went on to make even more friends. All my friends that still my friend group is literally from marching band. I became friends with them once I joined. But Sal was the big one. Sal was like, I mean, you're not playing football, just join band. And I'm like, dude, I don't play music. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how can I just join band? Don't you have to, like, actually be good and, like, know what you're doing? And the way that our band is set up at my high school at DR is anyone can join. It doesn't matter if you know music. It doesn't matter who you are, or whether you're, in seventh, we let 7th and 8th graders in. We let, you can join just for your senior year if you want. Like, we take everybody. And they were like, the band director at the time, who is now the athletic director, one of my favorite people ever, Doug. He's literally one of my favorite people ever I've met in my life. Doug used to he had a music store, and he was the band director back then. And I went to one of the Drumline's summer rehearsals because band actually hadn't started up yet. This was over the summer. And Sal was like, you should join band. I'm like, all right, I mean, I'll give it a try. I'll see how it goes. But, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything. I'm not a music person. So I joined band with Sal. I'm like, all right, Sal, like, you got me into this. Where what do I do now? So I go to one of the summer rehearsals, and I meet, I had met Doug, but I didn't really know him. But I got there, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm in Drumline now. Obviously, Drumline's the best. I'm going to join Drumline. That's what most of my friends were in anyway. Sal and Will were in Drumline. Curtis played trumpet, and Austin played bass. But Sal and Will were Drumline, and I ended up becoming friends with, like, everyone else in Drumline. What am I trying to say here? So I go to one of those rehearsals, and I'm like, I go to Doug, who's the band director. I'm like, man, like, I don't know music. I can't play anything. I can't, there's, like, I don't know what to do here. Like, And he's like, you'll be fine, man. Like, don't worry about it. Just stop worrying about it. Here's a pair of cymbals and just crash on one. I'm like, I don't know what crash on one means. Like, I can't count. I don't know time. I don't know anything. And he's like, yo, just keep practicing. You'll figure it out. So I go to the first thing, and I get a pair of cymbals, and I start trying to figure out how to mark time, how to crash on one, beat whatever beat one is, and like trying to figure things out. And everyone just welcomed me into the group right away, even though I was the biggest piece of garbage musician. I mean, I couldn't play a thing, but everyone just welcomed me in, and I got better and better at it as I went along, and it became the best thing I was ever a part of in my life. I mean, honestly, my entire friend group comes from marching band. We're all still best friends to this day. Josh, Evan, Seth, Brody, everyone that you guys know, all came from marching band. And it ended up being the best thing I ever did. But it was weird. Like, I was not a music person at all, but our band, the way it's set up, is like anyone can join, and they allow, it's more than a band. It's really a family, and they just allow everyone who wants to be a part of it to come in and be a part of it. And that's what I did, and I just joined. And my sisters were in it as well. That made a big thing. My sister, who's just a couple years younger than me, joined the year before, so I obviously had that as well, but it was mostly my friends that got me into it. And then my youngest sister ended up joining the same year that I did when she was in 6th grade. But overall, it was just, it was mostly Sal, to be honest with you. Sal's the biggest reason I ever joined band. And then once I got there, it was really fun. It was awesome. It was a great thing to be a part of. And the rest is history, I guess. I mean, I could tell you a million band stories, but the rest is history as far as me joining band from there on out. Yeah, Sutton, I told that story like last week, dude. Yeah, the shit in the science book. I've got countless band stories for sure, but they were just it ended up being the greatest thing. And now I'm back there as an instructor now. I work with the drumline and with the band now, and I mean, it's literally the greatest thing I've ever been a part of. That's basically how I got into band. I mean, if I'll stop the story there, as I've been talking for like 15 minutes now. Keep the questions coming if you want to know more stuff. Like, keep going. I feel like Brandon had a good question a while ago, but I completely forgot what it was. So my bad on that. Maybe I can scroll back up. Oh, my most memorable party. He asked me about my most memorable party. Jesus, memorable party. Definitely at college. It's hard to pick which one. I probably don't remember it, honestly. There were multiple. I don't think there's one party that particularly sticks out as the best in my mind, at least that I can think of off the top of my head. But there were multiple times at college where it was like that was like, you look back on it and that was a great night. And we had multiple of those with my friend group from college, and we just had some awesome times. And there were a lot of things that I don't remember either. Which cities deserve an NHL team? Well, now with Seattle, Vegas got one obviously, and now Seattle is going to get one. I think next on the list, personally for me, is Houston. I think Houston, Texas would be a great place to put an NHL team. They've always had a minor league hockey team, and they've always supported it very, very well. They're one of the biggest TV markets in the U.S. That doesn't have an NHL team. They're one of the biggest TV markets in the U.S., and they would have an automatic natural rivalry with the Dallas Stars. You'd have Houston versus Dallas. Those were awesome. That would be awesome to have. So I think Houston really should be next on the list for an NHL team. I think it'd do really well there, and I think, obviously you'd put them in the Central Division, and I think that them and Dallas would have an awesome rivalry, and I think they'd be a city that really supports hockey. Vegas, absolutely. Vaughn, what are you talking about? Vegas has been an A+ city for the NHL. A+ city for the NHL. You're just mad because you're a Sharks fan. My least favorite type of kids at elementary school, man, I don't know. Like, I have no idea, Sutton. I barely remember elementary school. That was so long ago now. I definitely didn't have like a least favorite type of kid. I don't even know what you necessarily mean by type of kid. Any high school fight stories? Oh God, I got a bunch. Yeah, there were some. Do you want to know ones that I was involved in or not? No, I can. In hockey, I think you asked earlier, Fire Strike, but I just glanced over it in the chat. If I had gotten in any fights in hockey, we had a great bench clearing brawl during spring league. It wasn't even like actual high school hockey league. It was so like after the high school season ended, we would all go and play in this spring league, which was just like an independent random league run by the rink just to keep skating and keep playing. In my freshman year, the last game, we got in a bench clearing brawl at the end of the last game, which was so much fun. And that was like the coolest fight I've ever been a part of for sure. And my friend Joey, who I played hockey with all 4 years, he was in the same grade as me, literally took a baseball swing with his stick in the middle of the kid's back on the other team. And it was right at the final buzzer as the game ended. So, like, of course, like, everyone else just piled in. And then we were all, like, coming off the bench already because it was the end of the game. And we all just jumped in and started throwing punches everywhere. Like, it was so much fun. That was the coolest fight I've ever been a part of. As far as fights at school, I never got in a fight at school. There were some good ones. I saw plenty in my 4 years of high school. Our school had a decent number of fights. One that I vividly remember happened right in front of me. I was in history class, and it was in the history hallway out in the hall. But these two kids were like at their lockers, and they just started like, I don't know what the beef was. I wasn't there for that. I don't know what happened. But I don't know. They started fighting, and literally like it was like a movie scene. Like everyone circles around them like they do in the movies, and these two kids, I mean, they are throwing punches. And our history teacher like runs out into the hallway. All of us get up from our desks and run out to like the edge of the door to see. And I get like the first spot. I get like the right in the doorway. I don't want to leave the class and like get in trouble, but I stand right in the doorway and watch this fight go down, this whole thing. And it was between two kids a year younger than me. And it was a great fight. Like they were throwing bows back and forth. And finally at the end, this kid, one of the kids caught the other one right on the jaw. And I mean, like pretty much TKO'd him. Like, it wasn't a full-on knockout, but he TKO'd him. And they ended up, that kid had to go to the nurse's office and get checked out. The other kid obviously went to the principal's office. And then, they got suspended and whatever. But that was a really, really good fight that I got literally a front row seat for, which was so funny. Let's see. I missed a question from Brandon here. When was I the most pissed off? Hang on, when was I the most pissed off about something? I have no idea, honestly, Brandon. No idea. I can't think of like one particular time where I was like, I mean, I've been angry plenty of times, 100%. I don't know. I can't really like think of one particular time where I was like the most pissed off I've ever been in my life. I really don't know. I'd have to think about that one a little bit longer. Have I ever been close to being arrested? No, THG. No, one thing that me and my friends were good at was getting away with everything. Not that we ever did anything like that would literally get us arrested. I mean, we were good at getting away with stuff though. Like we could have gotten in a lot more trouble than we did at school with the stuff that we did. But we rarely got caught. We were really good with getting away with stuff. But as far as like doing things that would literally get us arrested, not really. I've never really been close to being arrested, no. Seattle's biggest rival will definitely be Vancouver. There's very much a natural rivalry there between Seattle and Vancouver. 100%. I think if Houston gets a team, that Houston and Dallas will be very similar to that as well. Do I like kids that wear athletic shorts every day? I mean, I don't mind them. A lot of this, that's like an athletic sports kid thing, is to wear gym shorts every day. A lot of my friends do that. I don't. I wear jeans most of the time, honestly. But I don't mind people that wear shorts. Like, that's not something that I really worry about. Definitely not, Vaughn. I don't believe that you got arrested either, Vaughn. Fire Strike's two best friends got into a fight in 7th grade, and you followed them the whole time trying to break it up, and you got to the point where the assistant principal and the security guard chased them around school. Damn, that's wild, Fire Strike. I wouldn't have even... Dude, if two of my friends were fighting, I would not break them up. I'd watch. I'd be like, hell yeah, beat each other, let's go. Like, I'd be geeking, like, watching that. I think that'd be hilarious. I'd be all in on that. I mean, I just like fights in general, but... yeah, no, that's wild, though. If I had to eat one food for the rest of my life, what would it be? Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I'd probably have to go pizza, Brandon, because, alright, so I ate pizza like almost every day in college, so I think I've conditioned myself to just be able to eat pizza nonstop, and like, as long as you're allowed to change the toppings, because pizza you can put a bunch of different toppings on, I would probably have to go with pizza for that question. Yeah, dude, if the NHL does come back, we need a first-round series between Edmonton and Calgary. Absolutely. That'd be 100% the sickest playoff series in a long, long time. 100% with you. Jack says there was a fight between two guys over a girl. That is just typical. That's so typical. 100% that's typical. Jesus, Pike. Cocaine or strippers? Well, I mean, I've never done cocaine, and I really don't plan to. So I'd probably have to go strippers with that one. Do I believe in superstitions? Yeah, I've definitely was pretty. I don't know, I don't like go out of my way to be superstitious, but there's definitely some things like that I'm a little I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. I'll say that. Some of you will get that, some of you might not, but I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Sorry, I'm answering a Snapchat. My apologies. I'm answering Becky J on Snapchat. Where's Derek? Derek's not in here with his Becky J account. My bad. Well, they got expelled for that. You definitely did not get expelled for fighting at my school. I mean, you got suspended, but you were always back in a few days, and it was all cool. Damn, that's wild that they got expelled for that. Do I have a personal connection to an NHL player? Not really, no. I'm not related to any NHL players. I don't personally know any NHL players. I mean, obviously, I root for the local guys, from Massachusetts and Rhode Island. I root for them, to do well, because I like seeing local people go on to be an NHL player. Anything of that magnitude is really awesome. But I don't have an actual personal connection to any NHLers, no. Yeah, Danny got it, The Office. There we go. Classic Office. Have I ever had a girlfriend? Yes, I have had. This is pretty embarrassing, but I've had two girlfriends. One I dated in high school. One I dated when I was in college, but it wasn't when I was at college. It was over the summer. But those are the two girlfriends I've had. So yes, the answer to that question simply is yes. From a movie or TV show, what is the most crazy based on a true story ever? That's a tough question. Like by crazy, do you mean like the movie or TV show like completely exaggerated, like what actually happened and it wasn't actually accurate? Or by crazy, do you mean like it's absolutely nuts that actually happened? Because, like, I'm thinking, like, The Conjuring is technically based on a true story, but if you ask, like, the people involved, like, that the movie was completely over-exaggerated to what actually happened in that house compared to what is shown in the movie. So, like, that's, like, a massive exaggeration, but it's still technically based on a true story. Whereas something like, what's the movie where the guy gets his arm cut? He cuts his own arm off because he's trapped in a rock. 127 hours. Like that is like ridiculously insane that actually happened. Like this guy was rock climbing, got pinned, got his arm caught in a rock, couldn't get out, and literally had to cut his own arm off with a pocket knife to survive. Like the fact that is real and actually happened, that is absolutely insane. And I would definitely say for that, 127 hours. Miracle or Slapshot? Oh, that's really tough, DMV. Slapshot's my all-time favorite hockey movie, but Miracle is right there. I mean, they're very different movies. Like, Slapshot's a comedy, a funny movie, whereas Miracle is a very serious drama telling of that story. So they're very, very different movies. They're both incredible. Yeah, Slapshot is my all-time favorite hockey movie by, like, that much. Miracle is right behind it. Yeah, John Carlson's from Mass, DMV. He's awesome. If I was GM for the Bruins and I only could make one trade, what would it be? Can I undo a trade instead? I would undo the Tyler Seguin trade. That would be the one thing I would do. But no, if I had to like make one trade, I'd probably try and go get like... Bruins don't have a lot of cap space, so I don't know. The Bruins team is really good. Like, it's hard to know, like, what would you change about that? I don't know. That's a tough question. What would I make, like, one trade? I don't know. That's hard. I would try and get, like, another scoring winger, but I feel like, you know, we don't have the cap space for that. Hey, there you go, Vaughn. Congratulations. Like an unrealistic thing that actually happened. Definitely. All right, so THG, to answer your question, 127 hours. Absolutely. Like the fact that dude literally cut his arm off with a pocket knife, trapped in a rock, and still survived, like that 100%. That's wild. Yes, it's very much a historic event, Sutton. I haven't seen Paradise Lost, Danny, or West Memphis 3. I haven't seen either of those, so I can't speak on that. Do I know Eddie Shore? I mean, I know obviously that he's a Boston Bruins legend, 100%, yeah. If I were the Leafs GM, which of the 4 highest paid Leafs would I trade to improve the blue line? So the highest paid Leafs must be Matthews, Tavares, Marner, and Nylander. Man, that's a tough one. I think, man, it's tough to say Nylander because he had such a good year this year, but I do think that he is like the least of those players. Although I would probably try and trade Tavares because he's older. Tavares is older. So I'd probably try and get rid of Tavares and keep the 3 young ones just so you have them longer into the future. But I do think Nylander is probably the lesser of those 3 players. Matthews is the best player on the Maple Leafs, so he's not going anywhere. Marner, I wouldn't want to trade because he's such a good setup person. Like, I'd probably keep Marner. It would definitely come down to Nylander or Tavares, and I'd probably say Tavares just because he's older. Yeah, Peter Chiarelli is not a good GM, Vaughn. I mean, there's really no other way to put that. He's not a good, excuse me, not a good GM. Yeah, no, I got what you mean, Leafs forever, 100%. What's worse, the extreme heat or the extreme cold? Oh, man. I mean, like, cold is easier to deal with because you can just put more layers on and put another jacket on. So I'd probably have to say extreme heat because, in general, I like being warm better than being cold. However, when it goes to extremes, being extremely hot sucks. Being extremely hot really sucks. And there have been plenty of August days during football where I wished I could find a way to not be so hot. So, 100%, I'd say I'd rather be cold just because cold's easier to deal with. Like, I can just put more clothes on, and there you go. Like, I'm warmer now. So, it's easier to deal with. Next Bruins legend to retire their number, Zdeno Chara. Whenever Chara retires, he will be the next Bruin to get his number retired. Absolutely. It's going to be Chara. Yeah, I mean, I want all sports back, Vaughn. Not just hockey. I want all sports back. I want life to go back to normal. I want things to be better. 100%. Doesn't matter what sport it is, I want it back. Sutton, man, I'm really sorry to hear that. I completely understand, man. I mean, it's tough and things are really strange right now. So I hope you're doing well. And if you ever need to DM me, man, go for it. Hit the DMs, and I'll always be down to chat and just talk and hang out and stuff. But I completely understand that, Sutton. If I had to sign Carey Price to a new contract, what would it be? I mean, he's still got like a bajillion years left on his current deal, doesn't he? He signed like a 10-year deal when he signed it. Hard to say with Price. Like, he's not worth $10 million a year. I don't think any goalie in the league is worth $10 million a year because everyone that gets that kind of money never lives up to it. I mean, Bobrovsky flat out sucked this year. I would probably give Price $9 million a year, though, but only on like a 2 or 3 year deal. I'd give him like a 3-year deal at $9 million, not longer than that at this point. Yes, 100% Patrice Bergeron will get his number retired, absolutely. He's a Boston Bruins legend. Much bigger fan of Elton John, DMV. I actually really don't like the Beatles really at all. I know that's like a cardinal sin is like not liking the Beatles, but I think they're massively overrated. I mean, if you like them, then that's fine. But I never got into their music. I never really liked the Beatles. So definitely Elton John. I love Elton John. He's fantastic. $7 million for 5 years. I mean, yeah, Brandon, that's not a bad deal there. Definitely on board with that. I would look to give him more money, but shorter term. So I like the $9 million for 3 years. I would be down for that for Carey Price. I mean, he's still a really, really good goalie. The team in front of him isn't as good, though. Yeah, Sutton. DeBrusque is a great pick for that. Absolutely. Hey, what's going on? I want the season to resume. I want the season to resume as well. Absolutely. I would love to get hockey back. That'd be fantastic. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen for at least a little while longer. That would have been brutal, Jack. Absolutely brutal. Griffin Reinhart sucks. Absolutely sucked. What is that's an interesting question, THG. I don't know if I've ever thought about that. What is a common experience for most people that I haven't experienced? Damn. I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, what I haven't experienced. That's a really, really good question, THG. I've never thought about that. I can guarantee you I've never once in my life thought about that before. Jesus. I don't know, like, THG, throw some things in the chat that are, like, common experiences for people, and I'll tell you if I've experienced them or not. Maybe that's how we'll find it out, because I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I think is, like, a super common experience that I haven't experienced. I feel like I've gotten most things done. Who's the better duo, Matthews or Marner or Landeskog McKinnon? Landeskog McKinnon, just because of Nathan McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon might be like the third best player in the league. I think he's probably my number 3 best player in the league right now. McDavid number 1, Crosby number 2. McKinnon's my number 3. Nathan McKinnon is so freaking good, and I don't even think, even though he's a superstar, I still don't think people completely like realize how good Nathan McKinnon is. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I am all in on Nathan McKinnon, so I'm gonna have to go with McKinnon for that one. No, Andre Kasha is not worth $5 million a year, DMV. No, maybe like 3.5 right now. Would I rather have Andre Kasha or Nick Ritchie? Given the current Bruins lineup, they already have bangers like Chris Wagner and Sean Corrali and stuff in the lineup. So I would say Kasha, just because he has more offensive upside. I do think there's been. Well, first of all, welcome to the stream, Wold Wolf Music. Appreciate you being here. I do think that there is a chance to get hockey back. It's gonna be with no fans. That's what's going to happen, guys. If it comes back, it's gonna come back with no fans. They're not gonna have fans in the arenas, but I do think it can come back in July, and we might get a July-August playoffs. But if they do come back, it's gonna be no fans. There's no way they're gonna get fans back to finish out this season. THG, alright, I gotcha. What would I do now? Like, what would I do now that I feel like I'm missing out on? I feel like right now I'm missing out on my entire life, because, like, literally we just sit at home all day and can't do anything. But I know, like, what you mean as being, like, you know, if the world was normal. I don't know. That's tough. I feel like I get to do, like, a lot of the things that I want to do. If you're talking about, like, going back and changing things in my past, like, are there things like I regret or things that I would change going back? Absolutely. And if you want me to answer that, you know, throw it in the chat and I'll answer that. As far as, like, things right now, though, that I feel like I'm missing out on, other than take the whole situation right now out of it, take the whole situation, you know, that's going on right now out of it, I don't know if I'm really missing out on that much. Yeah, Nathan McKinnon's incredible, guys. The Marchand whiff in the shootout was very frustrating as a Bruins fan, but also very funny as an objective hockey fan, yes. Very, very funny. What would I do if Bruins traded Jake DeBrusk? I'd be very mad, Sutton. Very mad. I don't know if he's gonna become. I don't know if he's gonna become the captain or not. Leafs forever. That remains to be seen. He seems to be a lot more mature now and a lot better leader now. So there's definitely a possibility there of Matthews becoming captain. This is going to be very, very bad for the salary cap. The salary cap is largely based on revenue. And the league is obviously losing massive amounts of revenue with there not being hockey right now. So, first of all, the cap was supposed to go up like as much as $8 million for next year. Now we are looking at the cap not going up at all. The salary cap is not going to increase for next season. It might actually go down. So that is a really big issue heading into this offseason. This whole situation has been terrible for the salary cap. and it might go down next year. At the very least, it's going to stay the same and not go up. Because the league has lost a ton of revenue from this. I mean, I think it's time for Char to retire. I expected him to retire at the end of this season. Now that everything that's happened has happened, I don't know. Maybe he wants to come back for another year and not go out this way. But I would not be surprised if Char retires. All right, so THG, to answer your question, if I could go back and change one thing, what would it be? It would have been joining marching band sooner. I would have quit football sooner and joined band way sooner. I wish I had joined band in 7th grade, which was the first year I would have been able to, and had like a full 6 years of it through the end of middle school and high school. That, I mean, like I said earlier, that is literally the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've ever been a part of in my life. And obviously, I feel like I would have had, so many more friends growing up, so many more experiences growing up. I would have gotten more than one Disney trip with the band. Things would have been so different had I joined band sooner. So that is definitely the number one thing I would go back and change is I would have joined marching band sooner. Yeah, Thornton punching Mrazek was funny as well. We're definitely, I think, going to see some compliance buyouts this summer, Jack. Definitely agree with you on that. Yeah, it's possible, Vaughn. I mean, we really don't know. It's going to depend on how this goes. How much money the league makes, Leafs, forever. Revenue is how much money the league makes. Salary cap is largely based on how much money the league makes, and the league is losing a ton of money now. So the salary cap might go down. It's probably going to stay the same, but it was expected to go way up next season. That is not going to happen now. The sport that I follow the least besides soccer. So soccer is definitely the sport I follow the least. I would say basketball would be the next sport that I follow the least. I'd probably say is basketball. I really don't follow basketball that much. Baseball, I don't know a whole lot either. I follow hockey obviously the most. Football second. Third is NASCAR. I'm a big race fan, always have been. And then I would say baseball's fourth and basketball would be fifth. So outside of soccer, basketball is probably the one I follow the least. Worst NHL logo? That's a tough one. Again, probably the Kings. I want the Kings. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look up the Kings jerseys and logo from like the mid 90s or early 90s when Wayne Gretzky was on the team. Go back and look at the Kings stuff from when Wayne Gretzky was on the team, and I 100% want them to go back to that. I think the Kings stuff since then has kind of sucked, and it's really boring and sucks now. So, yeah, I would say Kings. What trophy would I prefer to be the next new one? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Brandon. Like to replace a current trophy, or I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Yeah, I think the wild logo is really, really good. The wild logo is fantastic. That logo is a piece of artwork. It's awesome. That's an interesting one there, THG. If I could see my childhood bully / most hated kid ever, what would I say to them? Honestly, I was never like really bullied. I was like not bullied. Like I don't know if it's because I was quiet and people just kind of like left me alone, or if people like just didn't, for whatever reason, people did not really mess with me. I don't think I was ever like perpetually bullied and harassed at any point in my life. So I don't really have a childhood bully. Like, people for the most part either left me alone, or people for the most part left me alone. Like, I was very quiet. I didn't talk a lot until I got into high school and like really started making good friends. And like junior and senior year was insane, mostly because of marching band. That's a whole different story. If you guys want to hear that, I can go on about that. But for the most part, I definitely wasn't bullied. So like most hated kid, I definitely hated plenty of people. I hated plenty of people. There were a good number that I did not like. What would I say to them? I don't know. I wouldn't even bother to talk to them at this point. I can think of plenty of people from high school that I did not like at all. I probably wouldn't even bother to talk to them. Like, it's not worth my time. I used to be like confrontational and like want to go and confront people, and it was fun for me, but like now it's like it's not even worth your time. Best NHL logo? I don't know. I'd have to think longer about that. There's a lot of really good ones. Rangers is really cool. I mean, it's simple, but it's really good. Chicago's is good. Chicago has great unis. I don't know. I'd have to think longer and harder about the best logo. There's a lot of really good logos in the NHL. Yeah, Derek, there is so much in that Wild logo. You need to look closely. It's awesome. Damn, really, DMV? You turned into Zach Cassie and you started throwing punches? There you go, man. That's one way to deal with it. Stick up for yourself. Always in favor of sticking up for yourself, guys. Absolutely. Sharks logo is really good, Sutton. I agree with that. I love the shark biting the hockey stick. That's an awesome logo. Sharks might be number one for me. That's a great logo. I might have to go with Sharks for league's best logo there. That one's really good. Boom. All right, guys, we're pushing 2 hours here, so you guys got any more questions, pop them in the chat. I'll answer as many as I can. We'll see how much longer we go. I am not going to go all night, though, so if you got more questions, pop them in the chat. Yeah, I do know that, Sutton. Yeah, the Wild logo has a lot to it. It's really, really cool. Matthews or Draisaitl? Draisaitl's a better... Draisaitl, based on how he played this year, but Matthews is really, really good too. Don't take that as a knock against Matthews. Matthews is the best player on the Toronto Maple Leafs. If I could replace one trophy in the league and had to choose between two new trophies, Sedin Trophy, the best duo, or Larry Robinson, best plus player, which would it be? All right, interesting question there, Brandon. What doesn't deserve a trophy that has a trophy? I'd replace the Lady Byng, because who gives a shit who the most gentlemanly player is? Who cares? You don't want to win the Lady Byng. If you win the Lady Byng, that means you're a wuss bag. Who the hell wants to win that? Hockey is a violent, physical game. So I would get rid of the Lady Byng. Fuck that. That's a garbage trophy. And I love the idea of a best duo trophy. That would be sick. So yeah, make it the Sedin Trophy, best duo in the league, and I would totally be down for that. And then I would give it to Patrice Bergeron and David Pastrnak, because I'm a Bruins fan. But get rid of the Lady Byng, bring in a best duo trophy. Absolutely. I got you, DMV. Why is life so boring right now? Because there's no sports and we're all stuck inside. We're all stuck inside. Yeah, I like the Knights logo. Hey, what's going on, Jack? Welcome to the stream, man. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. We're getting down. I mean, we've been going for almost 2 hours, but if you guys have more questions, we can go. How long is... Oh, God, THG. This is going to be a bit of an embarrassment on stream, but, like, 3 months? Longest relationship was, like, 3 months. Like, I haven't actually found, like... I haven't actually dated someone that, like, I, like, actually stuck with for a long time. And, yeah, no, it's like 3 months. And my last relationship, which was the longest 3-month one, yeah, it was ass. So, yeah, ooh, that's, yeah, it wasn't long, to say the least. I'm definitely hoping that the next one goes a lot longer. I've done a bunch of hockey card videos, Wold Wolf. If you go look under the hockey collection playlist, I've done a bunch of hockey card videos. I haven't gotten any new ones recently, so that's why I haven't posted any more. But I've got a bunch on this channel of me looking at, you know, unwrapping new packs of hockey cards. Best goaltender duo, Rask and Halak. Rask and Halak is the best duo. I mean, Vaughn, that basically goes to the Norris Trophy is usually... The Norris Trophy is usually the league, the defenseman that leads the league in points most of the time, at least. If anything, I think they need a defensive defenseman trophy, because it sure as hell the Norris Trophy has become basically defensemen who put up massive offensive numbers. They need a trophy for a defensive defenseman, like who's the best shutdown defenseman in the league. I think they need a trophy for that, where points don't matter. Nah, you're all good, THG. You're all good, THG. No problem there. It's kind of embarrassing. It's only been 3 months. Like, I wish I had a longer amount of time to tell you. I feel like that's kind of a gross time to talk about, or thing to say there. All right, see you, Derek. Who's the worst player in the league right now? I mean, that's really hard to say. That is really, really hard to say. Because there's so many guys that are like borderline AHL, NHL players. So like they get called up for like a couple games and then sent back down. Those are definitely your worst players. Like, so I don't know. Just like pick any of those borderline AHL, NHL guys. What's one thing I want to do before I die? Ooh, good question. That's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of things, honestly, but like anything that like sticks out is number one. Probably just like own my own house and like move out from my parents' house, own my own house, and just like be like financially stable. Like literally, like that's probably the number one thing I want in my life, is to just be financially stable and own my own house and just like be all set like that. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, Rod Langway Trophy. That'd be a great player to name it after for sure, Jack. 100%. Wow, Jesus, DMV. That must be a nasty, nasty team in 2027, 2028. Hey, there you go, Sutton. That's always fun. Yeah, Ablocated with no goals. If there were 2 arenas I would go to watch a game at, which would they be? Toronto and Vegas. Those are the two arenas that I haven't been to yet, that I would absolutely want to go to. The only NHL arena I've ever been to is Boston, and it was good, and I loved it. They're my home team. It's the Boston Bruins. But as far as like top arenas that I want to go to, Toronto and Vegas, and then Montreal's up there as well. But Toronto definitely number one, and Vegas number two. Electric atmospheres, absolutely. What's my favorite song? So this one kind of has a story. Well, not really a story. So it's a song called, actually, if you have me on Instagram, I literally just did it yesterday. For that song challenge, the Instagram song challenge I'm doing on my story. It's Over. The song title is Over by a band called Evans Blue. And that is, ever since I've heard that song for the first time, has been my favorite song ever written, and probably will be my favorite song ever written forever, just because of personally what it means to me, and like what it was like the first time I heard that song, and things that I was going through like at that time. Like it just matched up so perfectly, where like that song just hit me in a way that no song or music ever had before. So that just instantly became my favorite song, and has been to this day. Over by Evans Blue. Really, really good song. Gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it. Like, even now. And we're talking, the first time I heard this was back in, like, probably 2012. And, like, it's still, so we're talking, like, 8 years now, and it still gives me, it still hits me every time I hear it. THG, I don't think I've never seriously ever used a pickup line in my life. Like, obviously, like, you've looked at some, I've, like, heard them before, and I might have sent some, like, as a joke, but I've never seriously used a pickup line in my life, and I don't think I ever would, like, seriously. Like, I feel like that shit just does not work. Oh, God, yeah. If you guys know how I feel about Essa Lindell, go back and watch the diving video. That's all you need to know about me and Essa Lindell. God, yeah, no. I am not a... God, flopping around on the ice like a fish from SpongeBob or something. Like, Jesus Christ. That was brutal to watch. Very much depends on the song, Brandon. So I do like music that is more based on the instrumental part compared to the lyrical part. But overall, I'm more of a lyrics person. Definitely more of a lyrics person. But they really have to both work. Like, you could have really good lyrics to a song, but if the music doesn't match up, or if it doesn't fit, or if the music isn't good, it completely ruins the song. And I don't care what the lyrics are. Like, it doesn't matter. However, lyrics, like, are really, really important to me. And, like, if a song is gonna, like, launch its way into, like, being one of my favorites, like, it's gonna be about the lyrics, and it's gonna be about how I emotionally connect to that song and, like, what it means to me. I would want Zdeno Chara to absolutely beat the shit out of Matt Cook. What is the worst thing I have ever done on a dare? Ooh, that's a really good question, THG. That's a fantastic question. Jeez, that's a fantastic question. Worst thing I've ever done on a dare. I don't know, like, I was one of those, like, you didn't even have to dare me to do stuff, honestly. Like, you could have just been, like, especially, like, late middle school and through high school, I would have been, like, if you just wanted me to do something, I'd be like, I'll go do it. Like, I ain't no pussy, I'll go do it. And I was, like, that kid that would just do random shit, or, like, anything that you wanted. And, I got smarter about that as I got older, but definitely back in high school and certainly middle school, I would have just done pretty much anything. I feel like one that sticks with me is when I snorted salt. That would, because that hurt. Like, that was not fun. Like, so we were at lunch. I've probably done it multiple times, but the first time I definitely did it was probably middle school. Someone was like, I bet you won't do it. And I was like, bullshit, guarantee you I'll do it. So I would knock the salt off of pretzels. And like, you know, those are like pretty big, like chunks. I mean, not like that big, but like chunks of salt. And I took a dollar bill out of my wallet and like snorted a line of salt. And that was not fun. That hurt. So that was a really dumb thing to do on a dare. Sugar is better because the chunks are smaller. Fun Dip is better because it's softer. Salt is not a thing that you want to snort. Let's see. Who is the worst singer I've ever heard? Worst singer I've ever heard. Damn. There's a lot. There's a lot of people who currently make music who have no business making music. Cardi B has got to be near the top of that list. Cardi B is definitely, I would say either, Cardi B or Iggy Azalea would definitely be probably at the top of that list. Who's the other one now? I feel like there's another chick who's similar to Cardi B who is really, really bad. Unless I'm thinking of Iggy Azalea, but though they're definitely some of the worst singers I've ever heard. They have no business making music. Absolutely will not listen to them. Pure trash that comes out of them. Have I ever slept in class? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure multiple times, especially in high school, there were times where I legit fell asleep in class. Probably got called out for it by the teacher. I don't remember. Some classes, I'm sure they probably just didn't even care, especially if it was like towards the end of the year, weren't doing anything. Seniors were all gone. They were probably just like, yeah, you guys can do whatever for this period. And I probably slept during some of those too. But I've 100% slept in class, DMV. Absolutely. Yeah, dude, Sutton, the Flames alternate jersey is so good. So good. Absolutely love it. What is my least favorite song? Nah, I don't go out of my way to listen to Bieber, but Biebs isn't horrible. Least favorite song? God, some of them are so bad that they're like funny, and that makes me not want to put them as like my least favorite because I'll actually listen to it based on like how funny bad it is. I don't know. I would say Friday by Rebecca Black has got to be up, like probably the worst ever. The fact that even got recorded, but again, it's so funny because it's so bad. I don't know, but I would say that's one of the worst songs I've ever heard without a doubt. Yeah, Cardi B's horrible. Stupidest thing I've ever done while drunk. Text girls that you shouldn't be texting. That is, whether it's an ex or whether it's someone that clearly wants nothing to do with you, but you try and talk to anyway. Like, definitely, that's a no-go. Texting girls that you shouldn't be texting when you're drunk is 100% a no-go every time. I would say that's definitely probably the dumbest thing. Hey, what's going on, Audrey? Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. What would I do if Lil Tay... I don't even know who Lil Tay is. Maybe that makes me an old person or a boomer or something, but I don't even know who Lil Tay is, so I can't answer that question, Sutton. Hey, appreciate it, Jack. Really, really do. Thanks for stopping in 100%, and definitely talk to you soon, bro. I wish THG, but no. I've actually watched The Room. It's hilarious. It's like, obviously it's not like a good movie, but it's so bad that it's hilarious and it's wicked funny. So I enjoyed watching The Room because I was laughing the whole time. And we watched it in college. A bunch of friends and I watched it in college, and it's fantastic. But I don't think that's copyrighted. Like, that's a copyrighted movie, so I don't think I can stream that. But that would be wicked funny though, for sure. Let's see what else. We're pushing, like, guys, I'm gonna go to about 5:30 if you guys want. If you guys will stick around that long, I'm gonna go till 5:30, and then probably cut this down at that point and go get some dinner. So we'll do another like 20 minutes of Q&A if you want. And then we might do this again. You guys seem to really like this. Hey, appreciate it, Leafs Forever. You guys seem to really like this, and I thought this was fun. So maybe we'll do this again in the future, and you guys can ask some more questions. I mean, literally, we didn't even touch on the channel in this whole stream. Like, I thought you guys, I mean, it's fine that you didn't. I mean, we ended up asking a lot of hockey questions, but we didn't really touch a whole lot on, like, the channel in general. There's still plenty of more stories I can tell you guys. We barely got into my time in marching band, and that's where most of my stories come from. God, there's still so much we can talk about that if you guys want to know. So I'm gonna go for another like 20 minutes till 5:30, and then maybe we'll have to do this again in the future because this was really, really fun, guys. So any like last minute questions you guys want to make sure I get answered, go for it, and I'll keep answering them till about 5:30, and then we're gonna go get some dinner, guys. Sutton asks, is he one of the biggest YouTube channels on this channel? I'm honestly not sure, Sutton, but I don't know. I know that there are some big ones on here. I mean, HTH, obviously. Jens95 is a subscriber, so huge shout out to her. And she does some awesome compilation content with highlights and stuff. So she's a massive YouTuber who's subscribed to this channel. Oh, Nyquist is another one. He's got over 30,000 subs. He's subscribed to this channel. I Don't Give Kachuk is subscribed to this channel. So there are some big other hockey YouTubers who are subscribed to this channel. So yeah, I don't know how big you are, if you're one of the bigger ones, Sutton, but I do appreciate you being a subscriber 100%. That's a great question, Brandon. Most memorable content on one of my videos. Most memorable content on one of my videos. I feel like I have to go back and look now. Nothing like, there have been some where guys have, like, people have chirped me and I've chirped back pretty hard, and like the whole exchange I would call pretty memorable. As far as like a singular comment though, man, I don't know. There's not like one that's like sticking like out. It's like, oh my God, I'll remember that comment forever. Most of them are just things that happen during the chat more than actual comments on videos. Damn, that's a really good question, Brandon. There's not like a singular one that comes to mind. There are definitely some singular chat moments that come to mind, but not comments. But there have been a few on here where people have chirped me pretty hard. I've chirped back. Those were fun. Buffalo Sabres fans. Going back to the Sabres fans now. Buffalo Sabres fans. That video I did over the summer, if you go back and look at the comment section, some of those complete morons who thought that the Sabres were going to like win the division this year and thought that they were going to be a playoff team and like actually be good, those are memorable comments because they were so wrong and I was right. And all those people that disliked the video, all like 30 of them, that's funny. Like, that is memorable because they all were just absolutely ripping me apart for saying the Sabres were going to suck. And then the Sabres absolutely sucked this season and aren't even close to a playoff spot. So that's very, very memorable to me. And I love that. I mean, all those idiots in the comments who were calling me a clown and saying I didn't know anything about hockey, and like saying like the Sabres were going to be really good this year. All of them look like complete morons now. Oh, as far as like OG stuff, Sutton, you're definitely one of the. I mean, well, you're not like a full-on. You weren't here like at the very, very beginning, but you're definitely pretty OG for sure. Best YouTuber ever. My favorite is John from Hot Take Hockey. Hot Take Hockey is my favorite other hockey channel, without a doubt. Yeah, John. That's the channel I watch the most. 100%. John from HTH all the way. The original intention of this channel was just for me to talk about hockey, which is basically what it still is. I didn't know if anyone was going to like it. I didn't know if anyone was going to, watch. I just made it because I thought I'd get a bigger audience on YouTube than I ever did writing a blog and trying to build a blog and a website. The original intention for sure was just to talk about hockey and see what happened, and now it's grown into this big thing, which is awesome. But yeah, it was just to talk about hockey, and that's still what it is to this day. Obviously, it's gotten a lot bigger, but we were just here to talk hockey, and it's caught on a lot more than I ever thought it would, and it's become this really, really awesome thing. Who is my greatest fan? I that's up for you guys to decide, not me. I don't know. I mean, a lot of you are real OGs. You've been here since the beginning. A lot of you have joined later, obviously, as you found the channel and have become really big-time supporters. I don't know if there's any, like, single biggest fan. I think I just get a lot of great support from a lot of different people, and that's really awesome. So thank you guys so much for that. Yeah, Tilted Towers Stories DMV, absolutely an all-timer. Maddie is an all-timer on this channel. He joined way back towards the beginning. All right, see you, Audrey. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Most overrated players in the NHL today. PK Subban's the first one to come to mind. I think PK Subban is the most overrated player in the league. Other than that, I'd have to think a little bit harder. But PK Subban's definitely the one that comes to mind the most. Hey, there you go, Sutton. That's good. That's good. Yeah, Hockey YouTube's a great place, guys. So check out other channels as well and give them some support. There are some really, really good ones out there. Obviously, me and HTH have kind of become internet friends, and we're like very active on each other's channels. So we formed like almost this kind of partnership in a way. But there are other really good hockey channels as well. Yeah, 2018, guys. That was the first playoffs I ever did. So if you were around in 2018, you're definitely pretty much an OG, because I started this channel late 2017, but it was the 2018 end of the 2018 season and playoffs that 100% was the first beginnings of this channel really starting to grow. So if you were here for 2018 playoffs, you're an OG, 100%. What video did I have the most fun making? Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, not counting live streams, because obviously live streams are the most fun thing, getting to chat with everyone and stuff. Actual like video that I made, probably the pronouncing player names that I did with my friends. I know Amanda's is recorded but isn't out yet. I'm actually going to talk to Josh probably tonight about trying to get Amanda's out soon. But the pronouncing player names videos that I did with Seth and Brody, those were really fun to make because I got my friends involved and got to have my friends on the channel as well. Those were really, really fun. Any rant video that I do, really, really fun as well. Like when Tampa Bay got swept by Columbus in the playoffs last year, the video I did the next day was really, really fun. Yeah, There's well, I would say the videos with my friends are the most fun. Most toxic stream that I ever hosted. There's been a few. For the most part, everyone's been really, really good for the most part. There's been a few that have gotten pretty bad though. Trying to think of like when the one I did the first throwback playoff game stream that I did a few weeks ago was pretty bad. There was one game earlier this season that was pretty bad. The Canucks versus Bruins game I streamed. That chat was just really, really toxic for some reason. There have been a few throughout the life of this channel, but for the most part, the chats have been good and everyone's been really cool. Yeah, Eric Carlson as well, creepy for sure. Pretty overrated. Who's terrible, Cody Cece or Tyson Barrie? Cody Cece's worse than Tyson Barrie. Cody Cece's horrible. What do you mean, Sutton? What do you want me to tell, Sutton? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Yeah, THG, you've been here a long time too, man, for sure. Absolutely. The Chicago NBC rant, that was pretty funny as well. I wasn't even planning on that when I started the video. That video just turned into a rant as I looked at the schedule and saw Chicago, 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 Chicago over and over and over again. Yeah, that was a brutal one. That was a really fun rant to go on, absolutely. Yeah, when people were asking me to show the game, that gets really, really annoying for sure. Yeah, THG, I almost quit YouTube. So when I first started in October of 2017. At the end, or by the end, or near the end of December, I had pretty much quit. I stopped making videos. The channel wasn't growing. I was busy with college work as well. And it wasn't, I don't know, I wasn't having fun doing it, and it wasn't getting as big as I thought it was going to, and it wasn't growing fast. And I only had like 30 subscribers. So around December, I quit that first initial year, that 2017-2018 season, and I didn't come back and start making videos again until March, towards the end of the season. So I did almost quit YouTube. That's the only time I've come close at... Since I've never come close since then, but right when I first started, I did almost quit YouTube. So if you actually go back and look at my videos dated oldest to newest, you'll see a bunch of videos October, November, and December of 2017, and then it will just go dead, and there'll be nothing. There'll be a huge gap, and then it comes back in March of 2018. So I literally did quit YouTube for a short time, and then came back, and obviously have been doing it ever since. And when I came back, it was around playoff time. The videos got a lot more views. The channel started to grow a lot more. And I've never been like completely discouraged enough since then to quit. But I almost did right at the beginning, for sure. Let's see. Nah, Eddie, you're good, man. You haven't been toxic at all in the stream. That was, you've been good, man. I'm glad to have you on the channel. Yeah, that Canucks Bruins game, people did not understand what offsides is, and that got me really mad. I remember HTH came in the chat and backed me up, and he did a video on it that night too. So many people, God, I'm getting angry thinking about it now. So many people just did not understand what offsides is and how the rule works, and that got me really, really upset. That got people in the chat really, really upset, and that was a very heated, tense stream for sure. It's something, and I don't remember the exact video title. It's something about NBC. It was I think it was last January when it came out. So not this past January of 2020. I think it was January of 2019 when it came out. And it was something about NBC's schedule. And it was about NBC. Yeah, it was about NBC. But they had a bunch of Chicago games. And Chicago's terrible. Yeah, that was a brutal, that was a fun video for sure, and a brutal rant to say the least. All right, guys. Do you guys want one more banger of a story here? I've got a real banger of a story. I don't know if I should save it for the next time I do this stream or if we should go out with a massive story here. But I got a banger if you want that to be the last thing of this stream. I'll try and catch up here quickly. But if you guys want a banger of a story, I can do that for the last like 5 minutes here. Make sure I tell the whole thing right. It's from the Disney trip when I was in my senior year of high school, when I was in marching band. But if you guys want to hear that, don't ask any more questions in the chat, and I'll get through that. Let's see. Hang on. I'm going to try and answer these last few as quickly as possible. And then the sniper person is a different subscriber. Yes, I'm going through hockey withdrawal. Oh, absolutely, Eddie, for sure. Definitely, if you're going to make videos, 100% go live. What was the worst thing I ever did on this channel? Almost quit, Sutton. Almost quitting was the worst thing I've ever done with this channel. One thing that bothers me the most about the world today, God, Jesus, not having hockey. This whole current situation, being locked in our houses, not having hockey. This whole virus issue, that's absolutely the worst thing in the world right now. All right, story time, guys. Last 5 minutes or so, I'm going to make sure I tell this whole thing. This is definitely the most, this is the most wild and most success I've ever had with girls ever, to say the least. As far as like everything happening at one time. So we've got to go back to the end of my senior year. So I have graduated at this point. We've had graduation at least. The rest of the kids are still in school. It's June of my senior year, but I've graduated, but I'm not out of school completely because we still have marching band. We still have the marching band trip coming up at the end of June and into July for the Disney parades, and then Washington D.C. on July 4th. So I'm still like technically in school. It's still technically my senior year, but it's still like I'm out of school at this point. So I'm not gonna name names because I'm not throwing people under, like putting names out there and throwing people, giving away information and stuff. But we're gonna have girl 1, we're gonna have girl 2, and we're gonna have girl 3. So that just goes to show you how fucking downright awesome this was, and kind of ridiculous at the same time, and definitely the douchiest I've ever been in my life. But anyway, so girl 1 was a girl that was in my grade, and we were never like really friends, but then she went to prom with one of my friends. I'm not gonna say which one. This is already getting bad. I'm not gonna drop names here. She went to prom with one of my friends, but he wasn't like that interested in her, I don't think. And like quickly after prom, they like, that was it. It was done. They stopped talking. But anyway, I kind of like became friendly. No, Amanda, THG, I can tell you right now, Amanda was not at all involved in any of this. So girl 1 went to prom. She and I were in the same grade. My friend was younger. But she took him to prom, just, you know, as a date for the night. And then like they kind of stopped talking and shit after and weren't like close or anything. So me and this girl though are kind of friends at this point. And we started hanging out more and more as we went into June. And we started talking a little bit, and you know doing some things, and we'd hang out a lot and stuff. And so anyway, but she had a trip coming up where she was in like it was like I don't know if your schools have DECA or whatever it is, but she was in like some other program where she was going on a trip towards the end of June. I was going on a trip at the end of June with the marching band for Disney and DC. So it didn't make any sense for us to like start dating at that point, because we're literally like, what are we going to do, date for 3 days and then both go on trips to like different parts of the country? Like that made no sense. So Also, had a big like idea in my head that I was not going to date anybody going into college. Like, I did not want to be in a relationship going into school. Honestly, it was a really dumb idea because I didn't date anyone from my college. So I shouldn't have had that attitude, but dumb 17-year-old me did. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to date her, but like we hang out and stuff, and then the trip comes up, but we're like kind of talking at this point. So then we go on the Disney trip, and she's off on her trip, and I'm now on my trip to Florida and Washington, D.C. And one of the big things in the marching band, back when the Disney trips were a regular thing, was you had what you called your Disney fling. And that was you, if you were a guy or you were a girl, you found somebody for that trip. You didn't have to date them. It didn't have to be a long-term thing. Hell, you didn't even have to like the person. You just had to match up with somebody for that trip. Because if you were single that whole trip, it was like you were kind of a loser. You couldn't get a girl at all, and like people made fun of you. So I'm going on to this Disney trip, and like me and all the whole friend group were like, God, we gotta like at least have some girls to hang out with. Like, we gotta find some girls to talk to. So I get to Disney, and I'm not even thinking about girl one at this point. Anything that happened before that didn't matter. Anything we were talking, whatever, didn't matter. This is what I mean. Like, I'm the douchiest I've ever been. I get to Disney, and I'm like, I gotta find a girl. So now girl two comes involved here. So we get to Disney. And, obviously the whole friend group is looking to match up with somebody. Unless they're already in a relationship, then obviously not. But if you were single, you were trying to find somebody to match up with. So we get to Disney and immediately start looking for, who our Disney fling is going to be. Feel like it's the second day in. One of the buses broke down, and we were there with another school. It was our school and one other school. And one of the buses broke down. So all the kids who were supposed to be on the third bus that broke down had to get squeezed onto the first two buses. So my friend Curtis, I'll name one, my friend Curtis and I mean, friends I guess I can name. My friend Curtis and I were in the back of the bus because Drumline always sat in the back. That was our place, what we always did. Curtis and I were like, all right, this is a golden opportunity. We're going to have a bunch of girls from this other school coming onto our bus who are on this trip with us, who we don't know. Like, we got to get we got to get someone's number. We got to meet them somehow. So, of course, we were hoping that it would be girls that would sit next to us. And of course, right to the back of the bus come these girls from this other school. And they're like, can we sit here? And of course, we're like, hell yeah, like, please sit here. We're trying to meet you. We're trying to get your number. So that's how I met girl number two. And literally, Curtis and I are like looking at each other like, all right, well, something's got to happen here. So we have the bus ride. We talk a little bit. The whole group kind of gets to know each other a little bit. And at the end of the bus ride, again, I'm like shy, quiet, 17-year-old me. I'm still a shy and quiet person. Like, I'm not comfortable around people that I don't know. You guys, like, I'm cool in front of the camera and with you guys, and you guys probably think I have like this big outgoing personality. And I do when I'm with people I'm comfortable with, but not at all when I'm around people I don't know. So I'm like freaking out here, but I'm like, I can't be a pussy. I got to get this girl's number that sat next to me. I've been talking to her like the whole bus ride. So Curtis is like, dude, you got to do it. You got to do it. Do it. I'm like, all right, but you got to get this girl's number who sat in the back with him. So Curtis gets this girl's number. I get the girl next to me. I get her number. No, THG, not at all. No. One makes the story a little more complicated. Actually, this girl number two, is a more complicated story. The other girls we literally never talked to again after that trip. This girl, it's a little bit of a different story, but maybe I'll get to that as we go on here. This is already taking me forever to tell. Where was I at? So, all right, so Curtis and I get these girls' numbers. And we basically decide, like, all right, here's shot number one. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot wasn't even a thing back then. 2014, shoot your shot literally wasn't even a thing. But basically, we shot our shot. and this was our chance, at least our first attempt at fling number one. So we end up talking to these girls more. I get her number. We're texting now. And I was like, all right, so like when we go to like the whatever Disney park we were going to the next day, like, do you want to hang out? Like, do you want to walk around together and stuff? She was like, yeah. And basically she was my Disney fling for the next few days. So I was there, you know, and just I hung out with her for most of that trip. And we went on rides together, did a bunch of shit together, or ate together. You know, we were like, obviously we weren't dating, but it was like she was my girl that I was hanging out with. So that was fun. But then girl 3 became involved, and girl 3 was someone who had graduated already from our marching band, but we all knew. I was actually friends with already, and like a bunch of us were friends with already. A few of us had already had history with her. I didn't yet, but some of my friends did, and some of the other people in Bandit. So like girl number 3 gets involved, and the thing with girl number 2 is like she was pretty like innocent, and like it wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't like nothing was really going to happen, I don't think, with girl number 2. Like, we were going to hang out and stuff, but none of the fun stuff was going to happen with girl number 2. Plus, that band wasn't going to D.C. Our band was the only band going to D.C. They were there with us for Disney, but not Washington, D.C. And we were getting down towards the end of the Disney trip at this point, and we were getting ready to go to D.C. This was like the last 2 days in Disney. So, I basically, to make the long story short, I ditched girl number 2 pretty quick and basically just started ghosting her, didn't text her back, and started hanging out with girl number 3. Again, this is the most luck I've ever had with girls, but also the douchiest I've ever been with girls. So I start hanging out with girl number 3, and I know that there's like a good chance this goes towards the fun stuff way of things, whereas girl number 2 I don't think was just ever going to get there. So so now I'm hanging out with girl number 3, and girl number 2 is still trying to hang out and wanting to do stuff. So for the first couple days, it's like a balancing act where I'm like, all right, I'll go like hang out with you for a few hours, and then I got this other girl texting me. I'm like, all right, I gotta go hang out with someone else now, and like it was a balancing act for like a day and a half. Finally, we get towards the end of Disney. And I'm pretty sure girl number 2 saw like me with girl number 3 and probably knew what was going on. So they were headed back home anyway. Girl number 3 was coming to DC with us. So the story continues. So, basically, once we got towards the end of Disney and into DC, it was strictly me and girl number 3 at this point. And, we just, hung out a lot and had a really, really good time in Washington, D.C. And I'm not going to go into more detail than that, but it was a great time. So that's basically how that happened. Then the funny part, when we got back from Washington, D.C., girl number 1 texts me. And basically, because we come from a small school, small town area, like everyone knows everybody knows everything. And when something happens, everyone knows about it. Basically, she had heard through like mutual people who were on the trip as well that basically everything that happened on that trip between me and girl number 2 and me and girl number 3. So girl number 1, I really never talked to since then. Pretty sure she like still just does not like me at all anymore. And I mean, I don't blame her. It was a douchey move, but not that was going really anywhere anyway. So I don't really care that much. But girl number 1 there, we just I don't ever spoken since. Girl number 3, that was interesting. She also, this is where it gets bad. Girl number 3 had a boyfriend at the start of that trip, broke up with her boyfriend on that trip, started doing stuff with me, had fun with me, was my girl number 3 on that trip, and then when we got back, ended up getting back with her boyfriend who was originally there before the trip even started. So that's a whole wild part of it. And girl number 2 actually ended up being the girl that I dated when I was in college a few years later. It was between my junior and senior year of college. We actually ended up talking again and ended up dating like 3 years after this whole thing happened. So that's the wild part of that story. But overall, that whole situation was wild. Like talking to girl number 1 before the trip, going on the trip, starting with girl number 2, going to girl number 3, and then like never talking to girl number 1 again after the trip. Girl number 2 and I dating like 3 years down the road, and girl number 3 going back to her boyfriend when we got back from the trip. And the whole thing was just wild. I mean, it's literally high school to a T. It was wicked fun. I don't regret really any of it. It was awesome. It's the most luck I've ever had with girls. Literally pulling 3 girls in a month span. I've never ever been able to pull that off since. I never did it before. So that was wild. It was also the douchiest I've ever been in my life, particularly with girls. Like, it definitely wasn't nice, but it was high school, and that's literally what high school is. So it was fun, and that was definitely an all-time banger of a story here. So, I mean, I feel like I've definitely left some details out, but there are definitely some details we don't need to go into. So that's pretty much going to do it for that. That's my big hurrah finale of a story, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it funny. That was, I know, as someone who was there, as someone who... Sutton, what is that in the chat? That's fucking wild. But as someone who was there, that's a wild story, a wild time of my life. Honestly, I could keep going into Disney stories, DC stories, and band stories in general with you guys a lot longer. Maybe we'll do this stream again. I think we're going to, just for more stories. We'll have some more story time streams. But that's pretty much going to do it for this one, guys, because I'm getting tired. It's been over 2.5 hours, and I'm going to go get some dinner because I'm hungry. So that's pretty much going to end it for this one. Hey, what's going on, Chris? What's going on, John Duffy? That's wild, man. That is absolutely wild. But thank you guys for stopping in and watching. Really appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Those thumbs up really, really go a long way and help out a lot. Very, very much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, we told some awesome stories in this Q&A. Hopefully, we get to do this again and have some more story times. I really enjoyed doing this. This was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Brandon, Family Guy all the way. I never really watched The Simpsons. It's an okay show, but my friends and I were huge into Family Guy. Fantastic show. Loved it. So, Family Guy all the way. Better Blues or Red Wings logo? I'm gonna say Red Wings. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Hopefully we get to do this again. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm always down for story time with you guys. So just let it, you know, if you like this, let me know and we can keep doing it. But I really, really appreciate it. And I'll be talking to you guys soon. I'll be streaming throughout the week, so you guys will get a chance to talk to me. You guys will get a chance to talk to me again here pretty soon. So really appreciate you all watching. Really appreciate all your support. This was a really fun and a successful stream. So thank you guys so much. Like, comment, share, subscribe, everything. Make sure you're subbed to the channel if you're new. Hit that like button if you haven't yet. And I will be talking to you guys soon. But that's going to do it for me. I know I've said that a million times. Peace out. And I'll talk to you guys again very shortly.